Bill Finley, the Cardinals head groundskeeper, and the national anthem being played here at Busch Stadium as the Cardinals get set to play the Colorado Rockies. Let's take a look at the lineup one more time for the Redbirds. And we mentioned Skip Schumacher in the leadoff spot one more time for Tony La Russa. Ryan Ludwig will bat second. We talked earlier about the fact that Chris Duncan is a tweaked hamstring, and Tony La Russa, as a precaution, holding him on the lineup tonight and probably tomorrow as well. And Albert Pujols is followed by Troy Gloss. Rick Ankiel once again in center field. Yachty behind the plate. Adam Kennedy, Wellemeyer, and his tourist bats in the 9-hole. And the Rockies employ much the same offense as they have the last couple of games, only one of them counting, of course, with the meat of that lineup being Helton, Holiday, Atkins, and Hopp. And they will test Todd Wellemeyer tonight against Aaron Cook, who bats ninth for the Rockies. We want to thank you very much for watching Cardinals Live, presented by Cardinals Live, the post-game edition immediately after the game. Enjoy Cardinals baseball. Dan McLaughlin, Al Rabowski along next to call the game for you on FSN Midwest.
Opening day 2008. Finally, it's in the books. After a washout on Monday, last night's game found the Cardinals on the wrong end of a 2-1 finish here at Busch Stadium. But there's still plenty of baseball left. 161 more games to be exact. Number 2 of the 08 season is next. The Rockies and the Cardinals on FSN Midwest. The St. Louis Cardinals continue their 2008 season with Game 2 of a 3-game opening series against the defending nationally champion Colorado Rockies from Busch Stadium, where a big crowd is expected tonight.
We're watching FSN Midwest, where Cardinals fans come first.
Mr. Morris, did you or did you not go to Boxburger on 14 separate occasions last year?
Well, yes.
Did you or did you not carry trays, serve food, fill soft drink cups, and bus tables?
Sure, but...
In other words, you work there. Why didn't you declare your income?
I was a customer. I never got paid.
All that work and no pay. What kind of fools do you take us for?
At Steak and Shake, we're a restaurant. You sit, and I do the work.
Steak and Shake.
Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. By Auto Tire. For the lowest prices in town with 26 locations to serve you, you ought to go to Auto Tire, the tire pros. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Geico. And by Southwest Airlines. Billy Finley and his crew working prior to the game, and our camera working in super slow-mo by one of the Colorado Rockies relievers during batting practice. And here's a former reliever that's now been converted to a starter, 6'3", 225-pounder Todd Wellemeyer.
Big, strong, strapping young man, and he's geared to be a starter this year.
He is our Rico starter. Claimed off of waivers a year ago from Kansas City. Made 11 starts, a record of 3-2, and you combine his starts with tomorrow's starter, which is Brad Thompson, and the Cardinals as a team played pretty well.
Well, that's one thing. You know, they always say a starter is good if he gives his team a chance to win.
The 1-1 pitch. And Taveras takes a ball outside, and there is Kyle Loge, and we saw him on opening night. And for the most part, very, very good.
Yeah, he gave his team a chance to win. Last year in Wellemeyer's 11 starts, the team was 9-2.
And the count is 2-2. It's 51 degrees, our game time temperature. Kyle Loge said this has been kind of a surreal experience for him, and the fact that he is now playing for Tony La Russa. He grew up in Northern California. That's right down the middle, and Taveras takes a called third strike, and that's how the season starts for Todd Wellemeyer. Let's take a look at the Rockies lineup as we've talked about. It's a good one. Taveras, Tulowitzki, and Helton here in the first. This is brought to you by Southwest Airlines and his career at Busch Stadium. This new one home run, 2 RBIs for Todd Helton. And Holiday, Atkins, and Hopp, Torrealba, Nix, and Cook. Must be a thrill, though, to grow up in Northern California. You're an Oakland A's fan, and at that time, that team was dominating with McGuire and Canseco and Henderson and all the different players that they had that contributed to their runs for championships. And now he has a chance to play for Tony La Russa in his 30th season in the major leagues. Here's Troy Tulowitzki, the 0-1 pitch. Well, if this is any indication, And I know it's early, but one of the things that you want to see is strikes from Todd Wellemeyer, which was a real problem for him a year ago. He walked a lot.
Well, he was just a thrower. And the one thing that they tried to do is get his pitch count down. And as you say, he's thrown 7 pitches, 5 strikes.
The 0-2. Lined into left field and caught by Skip Schumacher for out number 2. No 2 mistake, but Wellemeyer gets away with it. Let's go around the horn, and this is brought to you by Auto Tires. Schumacher and Keel and Ludwig in the outfield. Glosson is Turris on that revamped left side of the infield. Kennedy and Pujols on the right side, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate. So 2 down, and here is Todd Helton. First pitch on the outside corner and just misses. We talk about being a pitcher and a thrower. Explain to the fan at home exactly what you mean by that.
Well, the thrower is the guy that, you know, like a Wellemeyer, has a very good arm that just goes out there and can't repeat his delivery, so he's all over the place, very few strikes, and is just around the plate. The pitcher is the guy that we're not concerned about velocity, but he executes pitches. He's a painter. He's a master out there, throwing the ball where he wants it, hitting corners, very rarely in the middle of the plate. The one thing you like about Wellemeyer is because of his power arm, he can get away with mistakes in the middle.
The 2-1 blew it right by Todd Helton. We've got 2 of the best that play first base in this ball game tonight. Todd Helton on the right, Albert Pujols on the left.
You just don't know how rare it is to see 2 individuals like these 2 that have career averages over 330.
2-2 pitch. Slap foul and out of play. Well, Todd Helton finally got off a dubious list. The most games played by an active player and not having a chance to get into postseason play. Well, now you could say he's been to a World Series as Helton lines it just over the Cardinal dugout. You know, he has to look at this lineup and say, what has happened to the Colorado Rockies organization? Because all of a sudden, not only do I believe that this is a good lineup, I believe he can go out there every night and have a chance to win and probably should win.
Absolutely, and they've done it with homegrown players, starting to develop not only their own pitchers, but look at the terrific offensive players that they have had come through their system.
2-2 pitch. We talked about it. They had 61 guys in camp, and 48 of them were either drafted or picked up off the streets by the Colorado Rockies, and they said, look, you got a chance to make our club.
And once again, we talked about how the Cardinals are starting to take that model, and a lot more of the Cardinal players have come through the system. And I think of the roster that'll be at Memphis this year, I think I saw or heard that there's going to be 18 of them at homegrown. So John Mozeliak and Jeff Lunau, who apparently is going to join us tonight on the broadcast.
He'll be with us in the 5th, and John Mozeliak will be with us in the 3rd.
Oh.
By the way, if you follow the Bill James handbook, which I know you do, Al, Todd Helton hit the most foul balls in the majors last year, 600 foul balls, and he had 3 in that at bat. And what it tells you is that a guy can get on base because he just keeps fouling off, and all of a sudden works the count, gets something in his favor, either to drive or takes that pitch for a ball.
Many times you talk about a guy that just has that ability to stay up there waiting for a pitcher's mistake.
Well, he came up empty on just 8% of his swings, which is the 7th lowest among hitters who saw at least 1,000 pitches a year ago. Pretty impressive.
And you're talking about a guy that has terrific power and RBI potential.
Sure.
That's usually what a little scrappy, you know, David Eckstein type numbers would be around 5%.
So a 2-out walk, and it brings in Matt Holliday at 340 with 137 RBIs last year. Little low, 2 balls and no strikes. It was Holliday that hit that slow roller to Troy Glaus that the Cardinal third baseman could not handle, resulted in a tying run. And then eventually the Rockies would pick up the go-ahead run and the winning run. 2-1 the final last night in game 1. And that misses, and it's 3-0. Jim Edmonds would play so shallow in center field. Not the case with Rick Ankiel. Swinging away on 3 balls and no strikes, and Holiday pops it foul and out of play.
I'll see if you can battle back, but the best way to pitch is to attack the hitters, and how you do that was strike one. Time you fall behind, that hitter becomes that much better.
3-1 pitch, fouled straight back. It's a new look with the St. Louis Cardinals. Edmonds, Scott Rowland, David Eckstein, they are all gone, and they had combined to have 9 All-Star selections, 10 Gold Gloves. So certainly defensively, a different looking team here for the Cardinals in 08.
Sometimes we forget about Encarnacion, another veteran. We wish the best in his recovery.
3-2. Runner off with the pitch, base hit into right, just past Adam Kennedy. And so Todd Helton on his way to third, and it's first and third with 2 outs in this first inning for Colorado. You ask for problems when you allow that 2-out walk, because you get that 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in this lineup, and they are awfully good. Going first to third on a teammate single, you see what Todd Helton did before 2007 and then last year.
Wellemeyer falling behind the count, then battling back, and anytime that hitter is up there with a full count, he's seen a lot of pitches. You aren't fooling him. That ball up and hit hard to the opposite field.
And now it brings in Garrett Atkins. And again, Wellemeyer falling behind.
And again, you throw up lofty numbers, particularly RBIs, from the middle of this order from a year ago.
25 home runs, 111 RBIs, and the 1-0 pitch from Todd Wellemeyer. Taken for a strike. Mislocation, but gets away with it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Atkins, the third baseman for Colorado, and you see the pitch count at 25 for Todd Wellemeyer.
Here's what we talk about with Todd and his pitch count. You know, even if he were to retire his batter right here, you know, he's 26, 27, 30 pitches, and you're talking about 90, 100 pitch, you know, plateau, maybe even 105, but that doesn't even get you through 5 innings. And once again, puts a burden on the bullpen.
Yep, 2-1, and that pitch was awfully close, but taken for a ball by Atkins, who really struggles against left-handed pitching, but a right-hander on the mound tonight. The 2-1. Jammed him, popped up, foul territory, Pujols over. He's got it right in front of that Cardinal dugout. Wellemeyer out of the first inning jam. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first, and there's no score. Sun setting here in St. Louis, and the fans still filing in by the Stan the Man statue just outside the main gate here at Busch Stadium. Our Southwest Airlines starting lineup: Skip Schumacher, Ryan Ludwig, and Albert Pujols in the first, followed by Troy Glaus. Good numbers against this starter and good numbers against the Rockies. Ankiel, Molina, Kennedy, Wellemeyer, and Torres. Against right-hander Aaron Cook, who struggled a year ago. He was 5-6 prior to the All-Star break with an ERA close to 5. But he got hot in the second half, and he's our Rico starter for the Colorado Rockies.
29 years of age, 12 seasons professional ball, all with the Rockies.
Slices foul and out of play.
Ground ball specialist. He'll go out there and he strikes out very few. That's only because he always tries to get hitters to swing and ground that into an out in the first or second pitch.
You will see sinker after sinker. He's also now incorporated a cut fastball, something that he developed when he was on the DL last year and trying to rehab, and that's all he would throw, trying to add to his repertoire. Hard hit to Tulowitzki to his left. We saw him in the first last night pull off a dazzling play at shortstop. Troy Tulowitzki played 155 games a year ago for Colorado. Let's meet their defense. Around the Horn is brought to you by Auto Tire. 5 starts against the Cardinals, no wins for Aaron Cook. Holiday, Taveras, and Hoppa in the outfield. Atkins, Tulowitzki on the left side. Nixon, Helton on the right side. And your beat, Torrealba, is behind the plate for the Colorado Rockies.
You know how I say that he tried to dispense of a hitter in 1 or 2 pitches? He threw a 9-inning complete game, throwing 74 pitches.
And that was at Coors Field against the Padres last year.
He didn't learn that sinker until after his 5th season. And it was Bryn Smith, the former Cardinal, that taught him that instructionally.
Here's Ryan Ludwig, 14 home runs last year, 52 RBIs. Behind So Taguchi last season, he was the Cardinals' best pinch hitter and a threat from this side of the plate. And he gets a start tonight because Chris Duncan has come up with a hamstring injury, so held out of the lineup and probably won't even be able to pinch hit. Now, is it enough to put him on the disabled list? We don't know, but probably won't play tonight.
And probably not tomorrow with a bad and rainy forecast.
Swing and a miss. First strikeout for Aaron Cook. 2 away. Hey kids, be sure to join the Chevy's Cardinals Crew Kids Club. It's featuring Adam Wainwright this season, the Cardinals' #1 starter. And for only $20, members receive free tickets, Cardinals gear, autograph party on September 27th, and much more. Memberships are going fast. Be sure to sign up your child today. For more information, call 345-9600 or log on to STLCardinals.com. And here is Albert Pujols. I want to thank Albert for allowing us to visit with him prior to last night and again tonight. One of the things that we talked about was his elbow, and it's been a topic of conversation around the baseball world about midway through spring training. He said, look, there's a problem in there. Everybody knows it, but I still have to go out, just play 100%, and if I blow it out, I blow it out. But I'm dealing with it, and that's the way it's going to be all season, or whenever he takes care of it.
And the interesting thing is, you know, he's had that injury for 4 years and put up incredible numbers. And actually, when Dr. Paletta was referring to that elbow in spring training, the press conference got all the notoriety. He was actually trying to present a positive picture about the elbow, and it was totally blown out of proportion on a national basis.
And as Albert said, at some point he will have to have that Tommy John surgery, but wants to keep playing as long as he can with the injury. And he takes ball 4, 2-out walk. Well, we have, after last night, 129 games on FSN Midwest this season, with 87 of those, and that includes tonight, presented in crystal clear high definition here on FSN Midwest. Well, Troy Gloss, good numbers against the Rockies, good numbers against Aaron Cook, 5 for 9 and a couple of home runs. 0 for 4 last night in game 1, and that costly error. Runner at first is Albert Pujols, who at one point in his career was somewhat of a threat to steal. You had to at least pay attention to him over there.
But last couple of years with the hamstring injuries and different little lower leg extremity aches and pains, you don't think about that too much.
He's dealt with a knee and a hamstring and now the elbow. Bottom line, keep him in the lineup.
I don't think I'd want to be in front of Albert if he finds himself not in the lineup, because that's where he wants to be. So it's kind of a manager's dream.
Right at first, that's Pujols with 2 outs and the 0-1 pitch. Troy Gloss high in the air to right. Brad Hopp a couple of steps in and puts it away with 2 hands. Cardinals strand a runner. We have played one here at beautiful Busch Stadium in St. Louis, and there's no score. Well, Sunday, the groundbreaking show that earned 4 Emmy nominations for combining sports and science returns as we break down some of the most spectacular plays in recent sports memory and then attempt to recreate their glory. Don't want to miss that. It's Sports Science this Sunday at 9, only on FSN Midwest. Along with Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Glad to have you with us as Todd Wellemeyer goes back to work, and this is Brad Hopp. Hopp, Torrealba, and Jason Nix for the Rockies. 1 ball, 1 strike. Good job, Al, with Brian Barton. As you get the feeling from your interview, he is so excited. You can't blame him, but he's so excited, the 25-year-old, to be in the major leagues. Into shallow left field, taken there by Schumacher. But one of the things I liked what he said to you, he said, you know, I just don't think fans, and he meant this with all due respect,
Right.
I don't think they understand what it takes for guys like us to make it to the major leagues. It takes so much hard work, and to get to that point, to have my first major league hit, my mom's in attendance, my brother is calling me after the game, to have that feeling, he said it's just hard to describe, and I thought he put it very well.
And I thought he was very humble in talking about how much joy so many people, coaches, friends, family, different people that have been supportive, how much they got to enjoy that hit along with him.
He said his brother has been a huge reason for his success to get to this point. The Rule 5 pickup, and last night, 7th inning, Barton, all smiles, and I love to see that.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a fair ball past Troy Glaus off the bat of Yorvit Torrealba, and he's into second base, 1-out double.
I just thought he was very sincere, and you know, he went to the University of Miami. He's from the Los Angeles area, and was not drafted. Signed with the Cleveland Indians, but immediately, even though he was not drafted, once he got into pro ball, he rapidly became one of their top minor league prospects. And the Cardinals picked him up in the Rule 5. He was, most of last season was at Double-A. Came to spring training. A lot of people were expecting a lot. Early in camp, they kind of did not see the player that they saw later. He had knee surgery. He injured his knee on opening day of '06. He had knee surgery after last season. And during spring training, he went back to that surgeon, gave him a clean bill of health, and he came back and had, you know, a new gait.
In the air to left center field. Rick Ankiel near the Bud Light sign, and he'll put it away. Watch that arm. A bullet into third base from Rick Ankiel. Boy, I love watching that. That's fun.
Well, you knew it. It looked like Rick, you know, really kind of, when he set up, was saying, oh, a catcher's not going to try and run on me. And then he saw that he was tagging up, and very quickly he got in throwing mode, and a strike. He's thrown more strikes from the outfield than he has from the pitching mound. Of course, he hadn't been on the mound for a while.
When we talk about Rule 5 pickups that the Cardinals have had, you know, Brian Barton is the first to appear since Hector Luna. He was a Rule 5 guy back in 2004. And who could forget Miguel Mejia? He made the opening day roster back in Tony's first season back in 1996.
Luna contributed. Barton's going to contribute. Mejia was a runner.
Well, Barton's got great speed. That's what you know, catches your eye when you watch him. Offensively, they like what he brings to the table. Defensively, they feel he's got to pick it up a step or two at this level in particular. Something that wasn't talked about in a game that you and I broadcast was that Barton was hit in the face against the Baltimore Orioles, but nobody really said anything. He was helped off the field, and he said he was fine.
Well, I think it scared us more than anything else, and it appeared he was going to make the team, and then all of a sudden you see that Cinderella story, you know, maybe go down the drain with a disablement, but it wasn't to be, and thankfully not.
On the outside corner, and a strikeout for Todd Wellemeyer of Aaron Cook. His second strikeout, and he is through the lineup in 2 innings for Todd. Cardinals coming up. They've got Ankiel, Molina, and Kennedy. There's no score.
The greatest show on ice is on FSN Midwest. Don't miss the second meeting this week between 2 Central Division foes as Brad Boys and the Blues are out to play spoiler and end their season on a high note when they travel to Nashville to face a team on the cusp of a playoff bid, hungry to overcome anything standing in their way. Blues Predators, Thursday on FSN Midwest.
No score, and on Saturday, April 5th, the Cardinals take on the Nationals, and all fans 15 and under will receive a Cardinals t-shirt courtesy of Ice Mountain brand natural spring water. For tickets, number to call is 345-9000, or visit us online at stlcardinals.com. And here is Rick Ankiel, the Cardinals center fielder, to lead things off for the Redbirds here in their half of the second. Against Aaron Cook, he was rewarded with a $34 million extension. As you mentioned, he has pitched his entire career with the Colorado Rockies, and The Rockies, after their run to the World Series, partner, they said, hey, we need to lock up all our young players and even guys that we feel that can be important parts to a championship, and they felt that Cook was one of them at $34 million.
You know, Dan, sometimes you got to look at not only the physical talents and the abilities of a professional, but you got to look and see their heart and their mind. This guy's a former Conigliaro winner, a comeback type player. He had 2 surgeries to remove blood clots in his lungs.
Actually had those here in St. Louis.
St. Louis, and that was after he missed nearly a year. Back in 05, came back to pitch in July of 05.
For his condition, one of the top specialists in America is right here in St. Louis, so he had those surgeries in the Gateway City. What are your expectations for Rick Ankiel? He was 0 for 3 last night. Limited play last year, 11 home runs at the major league level, 40 plus combined at AAA and here in the big leagues.
43 home runs in the season combined.
Pulled foul.
You know, the problem is with a lot of the Cardinal young hitters is they don't have that true background. They haven't done it here. They haven't been put in roles to where they are the offense now. And hopefully they get off to good starts.
0-2 is pop foul and out of play. There's one of them. That's a big key right there. That's Skip Schumacher, the Cardinals leadoff man.
Now, I'm not as concerned about Skip as I am some of the others, because Skip's been around. He's 3 times with the club. Each year he's gotten a little bit better.
You said something interesting on the post-game show last night where you feel if you have question marks right now, you're not so concerned with the pitching as much as you are right now with the offense, correct?
Yes. I think the pitching, from what I've seen.
Up the middle, that's a base hit. Good at bat there by Ankiel. He fought off some pitches, fell behind 0-2, and a swing up the middle for a base hit. Let's take a look at this date in baseball history. That's Mike Hampton with the Rockies, and Albert Pujols makes his major league debut. 1 for 3 against Colorado, April 2nd, 2001. Juan Pierre out there in center, fielding that grounder off the bat of Albert Pujols. And thanks to Bobby Bonilla and his injury, Albert made it that year.
Well, if you remember, that was Mike Hampton's first year with Colorado, and he was masterful in that game against the Cardinals. But Albert started showing you things to come with that base hit.
Strike on the inside corner. But go back to what you're talking about.
Well, you know, I think you know, everybody wants to look at the pitching, and you know, one, it's going to get better as the season goes along. But I saw a lot of, you know, some good arms. I think the Loesch signing, you know, Wainwright, we know what Wainwright is, but I think they're serviceable. I have definite concerns, and the pitching staffs can be better in 6 to 8 weeks. And it would be even better as the season goes along when you know, Clement after that and Carpenter at the end. But I see so many young hitters and hitters that, you know, that don't have a foundation. I think Molina's going to be fine this year, and he's going to get better.
That's a base hit into right field. Ankiel around second base, on his way to third. The throw from Hop. Head first slide, safe. Back-to-back singles for the Cardinals from Molina and Ankiel. Little hesitation around second base there from Rick.
And it looked like almost the throw might have beat him to third base, but Rick was looking for Oquendo to get the affirmation about coming around, and a little late in the tag, kind of a high hop. He'll get it right here. He sees it go through. He looks over to Kendall, and then he kind of got his stutter step. His stride was messed up going around second base, but he's such a good athlete. That's why a lot of people are not concerned about Rick Ankiel and think he'll hold his own, and he will. With his phenomenal power, he'll be okay.
There's Kennedy, first and third, nobody out. Cardinals half of the second. Kennedy with 2 hits last night. Corners are in for Colorado. They're going back to that first season for Albert Pujols. Wound up playing 161 games. hit .329, 37 home runs, 130 RBIs. Just a sign of things to come. And pretty much he's been right at that, same season year after year. Kennedy slowly hit to third. They'll go to second for one. On to first. Wide throw. And it gets away. A run will score. And the Cardinals lead it 1-0 as Ankiel crosses home plate.
I'm not too sure if that ball didn't clip Kennedy. Tulowitzki kind of fires a low one. You saw that Molina went in kind of high. And I thought I might have nicked him a little bit, and I wasn't sure if he stepped on first base as a result of it.
Well, regardless, the Cardinals pick up the first run in this game, just like they did last night. And here's Todd Wellemeyer. Pitcher batting 8th again for Tony La Russa this evening, showing bunt and a swing and a miss. Garrett Atkins, the third baseman, and on the grass a couple of steps. They'll hold over at first with Todd Helton. Last sacrifice was last season for Wellemeyer. See how the Rockies want to play defensively. Quick move, and that was very close over at first.
Yeah, he had a little stutter step towards second base when Cook threw over, and lucky Kennedy got back.
One out here in the Cardinals half of the second inning. Wellemeyer gets the bunt down. It's a beauty. Only play is to go to first. Sacrifice is good for Todd Wellemeyer. And it brings in Cesar Izturis.
See Wellemeyer get the bat out in front of home plate, have the barrel higher than the handle, hands up on it, and you see how he let the ball come to him. Soften the hands up, just let the ball come to it. That'll automatically deaden the ball, but don't punch at it, don't stab at it, just play catch with it. Instead of the glove, the bat's your glove.
Kennedy, the runner at second base. 9th place hitter, Cesar Izturis. First pitch, a strike at the knees. Split time last year with the Cubs and the Pittsburgh Pirates. A career .269 hitter over in the American League as he would play with LA. And over in the National League, a .259 hitter. He has won a Gold Glove in his career. Slowly hit to first, a 3-time Gold Glover. Todd Helton puts it away, and the Cardinals will strand a runner, but they pick up the first run of this game. Rick Ankiel, a little hesitation around second base, but the head first slide, and it paid off. He was safe. He came around to score. 1-0 as we move to the third. The best damn sports show, period. The greatest nightly sports show on television with hosts Chris Rose, John Sally, Rob Dibble, and Rodney Peete. The best damn sports show, period, tonight at 11 on FSN Midwest. Top of the order for Todd Wellemeyer to deal with. That means Willie Taveras, Troy Tulowitzki, and Todd Helton. First pitch, a strike. Taveras was caught looking his first time up. Made his 4th opening day roster, 2 with Houston, now his 2nd with the Colorado Rockies. Injured a year ago, saw limited time. We'll visit with John Mozeliak momentarily. The Cardinals general manager is standing by with Jim Hayes. We'll hear from those two in just a second. Again, a little low and outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. You put this guy at the top of this lineup, and this is why the Rockies can be dangerous. They've got power, they've got guys that hit for average, and here at the top, they've got speed. Into right center field, and Ankiel dives. Yes, came up with it.
He had a tremendous jump. Great jump on that ball from Ankiel.
Playing shallow right center field, he comes up with a beauty.
Well, not only does he dive for it, but I really like the fact that Ludwig, his right fielder, was playing behind, so he could afford to make that diving effort. And with Taveras' speed, if that gets by him, it could be an inside the Parker even with Ludwig. trying to go behind.
I happen to like our super slow-mo camera. I don't know about you.
I love it.
Great look at the catch by Rick Ankiel. We saw on opening day that was washed out the catch by Schumacher. He's back in left field tonight. And then that gem by Rick Ankiel. They'll shade Tulowitzki to right center field. And that's strike two. No balls and 2 strikes. He flew to left his first time up.
I assume they're part of that defense because I think Willamar throws that much harder. But this guy is a very good offensive force. You know, Mike Aldretti, who is the assistant hitting instructor, is currently with the ball club. And I said, did you see much of Tulowitzki? He said, I saw enough last night.
Get that right. Pitch at 93 miles an hour. They say he is old school. One of the first guys to the ballpark, loves to talk baseball before, during, and after the games. Tulowitzki, a ground ball to Troy Glaus. To his left. Out number 2. Let's check in with Jim Hayes, who's standing by with John Mozeliak. Jim.
Dan, the new Cardinal general manager, and John, this is your second game sitting in the GM's box. This is your team now. Is it a different feeling for you?
Well, it is a different feeling. Obviously, I have different responsibilities, but you know, understanding that I knew what I was getting into when I got this opportunity, and having the 5 months during this off season to prepare for this, it was something that I've grown to understand, and I think I'm ready for it.
There's a number of question marks that still have to be answered about this team, but the fact that they finished so well, the Cardinals, at the end of spring training, did that alleviate any of your concerns?
Well, in this job, you're always trying to look at ways to get better, but when you look at how this team's put together and what they're capable of doing, there are areas of things we will need to address during the course of the season, but I honestly believe once our pitchers start to get healthy and return off the DL, we should be in a very good position to compete for this division.
Todd Helton bangs one into the corner for a double. Before we let you go, how about an update? A number of pitchers you're waiting on to get healthy. How about an update on some of those guys?
Well, quickly with Pinero, he'll throw tomorrow to hitters, and then he'll be up here this weekend and throw a side, and then hopefully be out for a rehab assignment sometime next week. Depending on that, how that goes will dictate when he's here. And then Mark Mulder's progressing probably sometime a month away, and then Matt Clement is probably a little bit after him, and then hopefully Carpenter sometime in July.
John, thanks for the visit.
Thank you.
All right, that's the Cardinals general manager. We send it back to Dan and Al.
Okay, thanks, guys. Coming up a little later, Vice President of Scouting and Player Development, Jeff Luhnow, will join us in the 5th inning. He'll be in the booth with us. All the years of Cardinal baseball, and not many GMs when you think about the list of guys that have held that position, and it's not a long list. I mean, this is truly one of the great positions in all of professional sports, and certainly baseball.
I think John is only the 11th in Cardinals' 117 years.
He's been around for a while. People may not recognize him or know his name all that well. They will. But he's been with the Cardinals for 12 years. As a matter of fact, John Mozeliak began his professional baseball career with the Colorado Rockies, ironically, and his first job was as a batting practice pitcher.
And he kind of followed Walt Jocketty to St. Louis.
He said that his goal was really never to be a GM. It's just that's where his background and eventually his experience took him to this role.
Well, a lot of the course now is scouting and then minor league development.
Holiday aboard with the walk, number 2 on the night from Todd Wellemeyer, and again 2-out trouble. Missouri Tiger baseball returns to FSN this weekend. Tune in Saturday. The nationally ranked Tigers will host Oklahoma State, the Cowboys, in Big 12 action, and live coverage begins right after our game at 4 p.m. here on FSN Midwest. And how about the Tigers ranked top 5 in the country? One of the best players to come out of the program in recent memory is Max Scherzer, who's with the Arizona Diamondbacks and represented by Scott Boras. Took a while to sign, but eventually did. And they feel that he is going to be a mainstay in their rotation eventually when he comes up. A double by Helton, walk by Holiday, and now Garrett Atkins. He came up with 2 runners on back in the first.
And the pitch count keeps on mounting. 56 now. That's why you got Kyle McClellan, and you also have Anthony Reyes in that bullpen. Guys that can eat up some innings and multiple innings.
Runners at first and second, and here comes a 1-1 pitch. Missed outside. Pitch count now near 60. Only in the third for Todd Wellemeyer. You would figure, Al, that he's not going to go all that deep into this game.
Well, I will say this, though. You know, a guy like Wellemeyer is better suited. And you're not as concerned with a power guy. They have a tendency to have higher pitch counts anyway. But, you know, he's big and he's strong, and he has participated all through spring training as a starter. So it wouldn't surprise me if he threw 100 pitches. Problem is, at this rate, he's still not going to qualify for a win.
2 balls, 1 strike. Atkins popped out to first, back in the first, and a threat. Just visited with John Mozeliak, and depending on how you look at this team, some believe it's a team in transition, some believe it could be a bad team, and some feel this could be potentially surprising. Slowly hit in front of the mound. Wellemeyer is there, and Garrett Atkins twice now has stranded 2 runners on. Rick Ankiel with the defensive play of the night so far. A diving catch to rob a base hit.
Oh, I'm so glad you two could make it to our wine and cheese party.
Oh, thank you.
Let's go inside. Yeah.
I'm gonna go put my cheese in the kitchen. Gentlemen?
Dude, that's some serious cheese.
Do you care for a slice?
Ooh, that'll go perfect with this baguette.
And we'll finish it off with this lovely Chablis.
Endless refreshment from start to finish. Bud Light keeps it coming.
Going on a cheese run.
Colorado has out-hit the Cardinals 3-2, but the Cardinals lead by the score of 1-0. Rick Ankiel with the first run of this game. And we're back to the top of the lineup, and here is Skip Schumacher, followed by Ludwig and Pujols. And the first pitch is taken for a strike. How did you evaluate a guy like Skip Schumacher, who has made now 3 consecutive opening day rosters? Is he in your opinion, was he an everyday player? Was he a guy you wanted to watch out for? Was he a bench player? How did you view him?
I think, 4 years ago, he was a guy that it was going to be a 4th or 5th outfielder.
Ground ball hit to the right side, and Jason Nix is there for out number 1.
That could help your ball club in a lot of different ways, defensively, speed. But I think the one thing now is every year he's gotten better and better. And a lot of it has to do with the coaching you get. Look at this. This is great. Jose Oquendo is just one of the best instructors. We always think of infield-wise. But look what he's doing with Barton. He always camps out at the far end of the dugout. Usually the coaches are always in the near home plate, but Jose's always back there. He's got the rookie and just teaching him.
Ludwig jumps on the first pitch out to left, and the catch is made by Holiday.
So I think that, that's why you look at a guy like Barton. He's a Rule 5. He has to stay here all season long, but he earned the spot during spring training. But with the instruction that he's going to get from Tony's staff, he's going to get such an accelerated learning curve. And he's a real smart kid to begin with, that I think that even times when he's not in that lineup and sitting on that bench, he still can learn an awful lot.
Rule 5 guy, too, for people that don't know. He has to stick. He's got to be here all year. 2 outs, nobody on, and this is Pujols. First pitch is a strike. Albert Pujols, a .332 career hitter. Two outs and nobody on. 1-0 St. Louis, and Pujols will ground to the right side, and that's why he not only hits for power but hits for average. Little things like that.
Yeah, it just, it's hard to defense it.
I saw the shot of Jose Oquendo, by the way, and it's worth mentioning again. Mike Coolball, of course, was tragically killed as he was hit in the head, and he was a first base coach at the AA affiliate of the Rockies. And a new rule now in baseball is that the first base coach, third base coaches all have to wear those protective helmets. Another rule, this was something that was done in college basketball, the head coaches had to stay within basically a line, a coach's box. And these coaches now in Major League Baseball, that is something that is emphasized. And you can go ahead and ask Larry Bowa about that.
Well, will you explain to me why neither one of them are in the box then?
Yeah, it's something that you're right, Al. I mean, it's something that
they have to be right
out
here in the coach's box, and I think Oquendo's, he's really not that tall to where he is striding there.
Well, last night, for people that didn't see it, Larry Bowa is on the staff for Joe Torre, third base coach, and he was outside the box. And they asked him to go back in the box. He didn't like that. He said, I can't communicate with my players. So he was promptly ejected. And let's just say he was a little frustrated. We'll talk about that when we come back. 1-0. 3 hits aside, and the Cardinals have the lead of 1-0. Wellemeyer back to work for St. Louis. First pitch in the dirt to Brad Hupp, who has had a home run against Todd Wellemeyer in his career. Little success against the Cardinal right-hander. Again, though, going back to what is going on with the first base coaches and the third base coaches, Larry Bowa ejected from the ball game last night, and his frustration over the fact that he says, look, I can't do my job where I'm standing. And if that would have been the case when Rene Latchman was the third base coach, he would have been ejected every game.
When McGuire hit him, he was sitting in the first row.
He was. And I don't blame a third base coach or a first base coach for backing up.
Yeah, Glenn Allen Hill, you go, I don't have the same reflexes I had 20 years ago. Kind of left-handed hitter here.
The majority of these base coaches were polled in spring training and asked about wearing the helmets. Slightly over half of them said, I don't mind it. But there was a good portion of them that said they did not like it. And that is hammered down the right field line. And that ball is gone, and we are tied up. It's 1-1. Brad Hupp with his second home run against Todd Wellemeyer in his career. 1-1 game here in the fourth. A no-doubter.
Absolutely no doubter, and said there's just so much firepower in this offense. As long as you keep them solo shots, you can still. I saw Bob Gibson one time give up 4 home runs in a game when he won 5-4. It's the crooked numbers that get you. And there you see the ball right in the middle of the plate. And as you said, a no doubt. Thanks for the information that he had hit a home run off of Wellemeyer before also.
There you go. There's Yorvi Torrealba. Oh, up and in. And he doubled his first time up. That'll catch your attention.
Yeah, but it was an off-speed pitch that just got away from Wellemeyer. Out there, and had to throw a breaking ball, and it just didn't come down for him. Cold enough, you saw that he was allowed to go to his mouth while standing on the mound.
Here comes a 1-0 pitch.
That's the same pitch.
Glenn Allen Hill, the first base coach of the Rockies, said every time, though, I put on that helmet, even though I may not like it, he says it just reminds me of my cool ball, and it reminds me that, and he says as elementary as it sounds, I need to pay attention, but that helmet makes me think of that way.
How about the class act by the Colorado Rocky players and staff awarding the Coolbaugh family a full share from last year's National League Championship team?
And to put that in perspective, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars when the Cardinals won in '06, a full share was. So it gives you an idea what the Rockies picked up. Mike Coolbaugh's brother is a coach at AA with Texas. His wife, they have 3 kids, and his wife was pregnant when he was tragically killed and just had their baby not too long ago. But they went back to spring training,
right?
With the Texas Rangers, and she said, I don't want my kids growing up not understanding the game or liking the game. I want them to love the game, because that's what Mike would have wanted.
both Mike and his brother Scott played for the Cardinals.
0-2 the count on your beat Torrealba, or rather Jason Nix. After the strikeout of Torrealba, Nix flied out to center his first time up.
The rookie that made his major league debut last night and took that bases loaded walk, which eventually was the winning run.
Well, the Cardinals had a bunch of players that made their debut last night. There's the strikeout of Jason Nix. This portion of Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Kia Motors and by Aflac. Marty Hendon, longtime Cardinal executive who passed away in the offseason. I don't know about you, but it just doesn't seem the same with Marty not being on the field during the pregame ceremonies, and you just saw some of the folks he was pictured there with. Huge celebrities that he would bring to St. Louis, and a lot of that is due to Marty Hendon.
Yeah, well, have you seen Trinket City or the?
Oh, sure.
No, I mean the tribute that they have
Yes.
to Marty downstairs.
It's great.
Yeah, it really is nice. That was some of the pictures along, but got a little display of what Trinket City looked like and a photograph of Marty's office.
He would keep everything: bobbleheads, pins, pennants.
Every giveaway that was ever given away here, or some of the proposed giveaways that didn't make it, and anything with a Cardinal logo.
Cardinal employee since 1973. A look at Trinket City, what we're talking about as we head to break. We miss Marty Hendon.
Everything okay, Carl?
I'm winning, right?
Yeah, but the other drivers think Aflac sponsorship's giving you an advantage.
Well, if you're sick and you can't work, Aflac pays cash fast to help keep you in the race.
I know, but they see it a little differently. I taught him that.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Time to turn to the Aflac trivia question tonight. Who has more National League RBI champions? The Rockies since '95 or the Cardinals since 1941? Good question.
Aflac!
And both have 7.
Yeah, but one's 91 and the other one's from 41.
Yeah. The Blake Street Bombers had a lot to do with that. Colorado. Larry Walker, Dante Bichette, Castilla. They could hit the ball. That was pre-humidifier. Up and into Ankiel. He has had the defensive play of the night. Diving play into right center. Took a hit away. He's also singled and scored. 1 ball, 1 strike on the Cardinal outfielder. Hitting .250 on the young season. 1 for 1 though tonight. And Keel here, then Molina and Kennedy. Ooh, good cut.
Good rip is right. Rick had a very good spring.
I mean, it's simply amazing that he's in this spot.
I mean, what he did, you know, is, I hate to say it, but to do what he's did is, you know.
And Keel down the right field line. Gone. Home run. 2-1 Cardinals. His first of 08.
I was about to say the best example is Babe Ruth.
I mean, you can make a case, no doubt.
I mean, I'm not saying he's Babe Ruth, but I mean, there's no one that's started a career as a pitcher and then become a hitter as well as he has, other than Babe Ruth. And he's got a long way to catch him as a pitcher and a hitter.
Well, you give the Cardinals credit too for sticking with him through all the ups and a lot of downs along the way. You know, I don't know, but I thought they were crazy when they said, all right, he's retired as a pitcher and he's going to try to come back and make it as a position player. And I'm thinking, okay, we shall see. And he's legitimate.
I said that, you know, exceeded my expectations long ago. You know, when he got up here and then had the success he had last year, it was beyond anything I thought.
2-1 Cardinals. Here's Molina. He homered last night. That pitch on the outside corner for strike 2, 1-2. So Rick Ankiel 2 for 2, 2 runs scored and a solo home run. And the guys that have the full appreciation for Rick Ankiel are the teammates, in particular the pitching staff and guys even in the minor leagues that have watched him have to go through what he went through. It was tough. It was embarrassing, stressful for all involved. Hard hit to Todd Helton for the first out. Molina is 1 for 2.
Dan, I really couldn't believe that he quit, you know, pitching when he did. But he was a pretty good hitting pitcher. He's such a natural athlete. He had 43 home runs between AAA and the big leagues last year. And you know, he's just got those quick hands, gifted athlete. He's got a power stroke, and he's going to walk into a bunch.
Shallow center field. Taveras coming on to make the catch for out number 2. I mean, just think about what he has done tonight. He has gone to third from first on a base hit. He's made the best defensive play of the game, a diving catch in right center. He has singled and scored back in the second, and now a solo home run here in the fourth. I mean, he's shown you a little bit of everything, and this is a guy that's a former pitcher. This year, when you can't be home to watch the Cardinals on FSN, check it out on MLB.tv, and you can go online to watch every out-of-market Cardinals game of this season live. And for details, visit STLCardinals.com, where baseball is always on.
After this Rockies series, we got the Washington Nationals coming in, and they're off to a hot start.
They had a dramatic win in their first game at their home stadium.
They're about to get another one from the same bat.
On the outside corner, and Todd Wellemeyer says no problem. Just give me that call when I'm on the mound. And Ankiel makes it 2-1 Cardinals after 4. So much fun to watch the transition from pitcher to outfielder. Rick Ankiel, a base hit, then going from first to third. Ankiel eventually would score the first run of this game. That would make it 1-0. Silky smooth, but this gun from center field will ought to hop to third for the former pitcher. Best play of the night, Ankiel into right center, a diving catch. And of course, loving the long ball, his home run into right field. Rick Ankiel has shown us a little bit of everything tonight as the Cardinals lead by the score of 2-1 over the Colorado Rockies. Rick Ankiel in center field this evening. And we have a chance to visit with the Vice President of Scouting and Player Development of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jeff Lunau joins us as Todd Wellemeyer starts this inning, the top of the 5th, with a strike. Good to see you, Jeff. How are you?
Pleasure to be here. It's a beautiful evening tonight, a little chilly, but Rick Ankiel's home run sure got out of here in a hurry.
It sure did, and that is strike number 2. You know, when you were watching Rick Ankiel last year, did you project him to be in the major leagues this season at this point on opening day? Or did you think, all right, it might take a year or two, even longer, to get him into the major leagues?
Well, Rick was down in Jupiter for a while, and I think I got a call, and I don't remember exactly when it was, from Dan Radisson, who's hitting coordinator now. And he said, Jeff, this guy's got power that you just don't see too often. And he said, this guy's not that far away. I know he hasn't had that many at-bats, but I don't think he's that far away from being able to help in the big leagues. And after I heard that from an experienced coach like Dan Radisson, I started to believe. I saw it myself, and it's exciting. I mean, tonight's a wonderful night. The defense, the arm, the offense. It's a great combination. It's the type of player we like to have here.
How about for you on a personal level, the transition going from Walt being the GM to now having John Mozeliak? What's that been like for you?
Well, we've got an interesting group in the front office. A lot of changes over the past year, and I think we're getting to know each other, and we're really operating as a team and trying to put the best product on the field. And I think that's all we can do at this point.
Yeah, John was saying at one point, you know, when he was going through his professional career to get to this point, computers all of a sudden just got, and numbers really were starting to get crunched in baseball more so than even in the past, and now it's just commonplace. How do you evaluate players when you look at numbers and some of the different things that go into trying to evaluate what could be a major league talent?
Well, there's so much information available today relative to what might have been available 10 years ago. We have information on every pitch thrown, not only the velocity, but the type of pitch, exactly where it crosses home plate, what the outcome of every pitch is. And you can just imagine the sheer volume of data. We've got a lot of experts, people that are familiar with playing with this kind of data and trying to get conclusions from it that do the analysis for us. And but at the end of the day, you have to combine that with what you see with your eyes as a scout, what your coaches tell you, and try and put it all together into a picture of what you think might happen in the future, which is really all we're trying to do. We all can pretty much tell what happened in the past. We're just trying to figure out if we can get an edge on trying to predict the future and who might have a better year next year than they had this year.
So the strikeout of Willie Taveras and now a walk to Troy Tulowitzki. It brings in the always dangerous Todd Helton. Let me ask you about the minor league system. How would you rank it right now? Is it strong? Is it weak? Where are the good positions? How about pitching? All those things. How good is it?
Well, we had a tremendous spring training, primarily because everybody stayed healthy. And I think we've got our opening night tomorrow night in our Memphis club is going to be in Oklahoma. Springfield, Quad Cities, and Palm Beach all open at home. I'm very excited about these upcoming minor league seasons. I think we have quite a bit of depth, not only on the pitching side, as was witnessed by a lot of the pitchers that were in Major League Camp this year, but on the position player side as well. I think there's some excitement. At Springfield this year, we've got a fully homegrown team. Both the rotation and the infielders and the outfielders are all players that we drafted. And even in Memphis, we've got a sprinkling of players we brought in as free agents like Josh Phelps and D'Angelo Jimenez and Mark Johnson, the catcher, and a few others. But generally speaking, we've got prospects up and down the system, and I'm really excited to see what they can do this year. I think some of them are going to take a step forward, and we'll have a whole new group of young guys coming up to knock on the door next year, hopefully.
And Jeff, when you look at a team like the Colorado Rockies, they make it to their first World Series a year ago. They do it with a payroll around $60 million. It jumps up to $70 this year, but majority of their players, homegrown talent. And I guess at this day and age with baseball, you have to develop your players if you want to have a chance to compete and win.
Well, you really do. It's a combination. You're always going to look at veterans who are out there that are available, that can fill roles on your team, and you're going to want to sign your own guys like we just did with Molina and like we've done with Pujols. But if you can have a steady stream of young players that can help your club every year coming up, I think that puts you in a tremendous position, because then you're not forced to go out and sign players on the free agent market. You can do it selectively, and that's the position we really want to be in.
A couple of players that I want to ask you about specifically: Colby Rasmus, Joe Mather. Mather had a great camp. Colby did as well. And in talking with John, he said, hey, at some point they will be major league players this year. We'll see them up with St. Louis. Hopefully not because of injury, but at some point we're going to see these guys, whatever the case may be. Your expectations for these two players, not just this year, but beyond as well?
Well, they both made a strong statement in spring training, and I think they made a strong statement last year. We do have to remember, though, Colby has never played one game of AAA. Tomorrow night will be his first game at AAA level. And each level in the minor leagues is a little bit harder. And I do think he's going to do well this year in AAA. And depending upon how well he does, will probably dictate when he comes to St. Louis. But I do expect when he gets here, he's going to be ready. I think he proved that in spring training. And he's the type of player that should get here and have an impact fairly quickly. I don't think he's going to be one of those players that 3-4 years in, finally we start to see the production we were hoping for. I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. And same thing with Joe Mather. He's got tremendous power. He's got a good arm. He's a very athletic guy. He's an interesting story because it took him a while to really come to in the minor leagues. And fortunately, we were patient with him. He spent 4 years at extended spring training, and we just kept throwing him out there, and eventually it all came together, and thank goodness we did.
How about some of the other players that aren't the Rasmuses of the world or the Mathers? Those are names that fans know about. How about some of the other players that could be sleepers out there that wind up here with the Cardinals?
Well, there's an exciting group at Springfield this year in our AA club. John Jay is going to be our center fielder there from the University of Miami, left-handed hitter. Really has always hit for a high average and can hit doubles, can run, great fielder. I think he's going to be exciting. Jose Martinez, who everybody saw a little bit of or heard a little bit about when Springfield played the big league club last weekend, who's going to be playing second base there. Tyler Green, our shortstop, Alan Craig, our third baseman. These are all guys that, it's an important year for those guys. Some of them are going to take a step forward, establish themselves, and hopefully win themselves a big league invite so that we can all see them next year.
Jeff Lunau is with us, and Todd Helton at the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, and a runner at first. That's Troy Tulowitzki following his walk. Cardinals lead it by the score of 2-1. Helton pops it up. Big pitch there. Pujols in foul territory. He'll put it away for out number 2. As far as you developing a lot of what's going on in the Dominican, that has been a big project for you. How has that been coming along?
We have several players now in the U.S. from the Dominican Republic as well as from Venezuela. In fact, Jose Martinez, our AA middle infielder, is from Venezuela. We signed him a few years back. So I think the fruits of those projects are going to be noticed more and more at the upper levels of the minor leagues. We've got some exciting young pitchers throwing in the mid-90s that are going to be pitching at Quad Cities and some of our other short season affiliates. And position players, our middle infield from Quad Cities can have 2 guys from Venezuela, Bolivar and Garcia, both very high ceiling prospects. We have a Colombian shortstop at Palm Beach, Donovan Solano, who's 19 years old, playing in a league with a lot of 22 and 23-year-olds. So there's some reason to be excited. Obviously, none of them have gotten here to the big leagues yet, but I think if we're having this conversation a couple years from now, we're going to have a different story, and we'll start to see the changing face of the big league St. Louis Cardinals have become much more international.
This is Matt Holliday, and we're visiting with Jeff Lunau. 2 balls, no strikes with 2 outs and a runner at first. Cardinals leading by the score of 2-1. As far as your number 1 pick from a year ago, how is he faring?
Well, Pete made the Quad Cities opening day roster. He's going to be the starting shortstop. He hit well over 300 during spring training, and he was pushed pretty hard. We had him playing a lot of AAA games, some AA games, and he proved to be versatile, not only a good defender, he ran well, he took instruction well, and we're excited to see how he can do in a full season.
Don't even try it. Molina guns him down. You're shaking your head. Why would they do that?
I don't know.
He's unbelievable. Jeff, have a great year. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's Jeff Lunau, 2-1 St. Louis. Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Glad to have you with us. Our thanks to Jeff Lunau, the Vice President of Scouting and Player Development. Minor leagues get going tomorrow night for AAA Memphis. 2-1 St. Louis. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Molina is something else. Caught 50% last year, 47% overall in his career.
Basically shuts down the running game.
Two balls and no strikes on Cesar Izturis.
Looks like Wellmeyer's probably through after his 5 innings and nearly 100 pitches. Guess who's warming up?
Kyle McClellan, and Kyle was outstanding last night in his Cardinal debut. He said he had 15 text messages after the game, a bunch of voicemails as well. But the key that he said, and I think it's a key, he said, I have to put last night behind me. It's over. They gave me a key spot to make my debut. I did okay against the heart of their lineup. Now that's over, and we look to game 2.
Well, I think he's smart enough. You know, he's more mature than his age.
And that's ball 4 to Cesar Izturis. Well, if you want to win a ticket to a game, go to StubHub.com. It's fast and easy. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the St. Louis Cardinals.
See what happens here with our double leadoff. Izturis getting on base, and now you have another position player. Hopefully get a couple more guys on ahead of Albert Pujols.
Skip Schumacher has grounded out to short and grounded to second. He's 0 for 2. Rick Ankiel has scored 2 runs tonight. Pitch outside for ball 1.
Aaron Cook 0-3 against the Cardinals in his career. ERA nearly 7.
Milwaukee beat the Cubs today. That final's already in, 8-2. Schumacher, two held, nice play on a short hop on to first. Nope, Tulowitzki will keep in his pocket. Not an easy play, though, for a guy that throws from the left side, Todd Helton, there to come charge and then have to throw across his body like that.
Easier for a left-hander than a right-hander, but you know that's the advantage of having the left-hander there. But I think you see he's coming on there. You mentioned earlier a 3-time Gold Glove winner, so he sees the throw right in front of him. He's going to have to throw on the run, and Tulowitzki shows you his wise judgment of holding on to that ball. A lot of young players will go ahead and execute that throw, don't have a chance to get someone with the speed of Schumacher and throw the ball away and put the man in scoring position.
Here's Ryan Ludwig. He lined out to left and also struck out. Ludwig jumps on the pitch out to deep center field. Track, wall, and it's off the wall. They're going to wave him on in, and Ludwig is going to wind up at third. 3-1 Cardinals. A triple by Ryan Ludwig as Schumacher scores.
Cardinals catch a bit of a break as Tavares, I think the center fielder, I think he kind of feels like maybe he should have made the catch. Was over the shoulder, would have taken an exceptional effort, but it was not that high on the wall. Pitched that in, and Ludwig has that good power. You see him kind of reach up there just beyond his glove. And then hard up against the wall as he never really slowed down, and that allowed Ludwig to get to third.
Activity now in the Rockies bullpen. A right-hander, as we mentioned before, McClellan throwing in the Cardinals bullpen, and this is Albert Pujols. See what he does on first pitches, but not a chance here as they will intentionally walk Pujols. I think you would agree that's the smart move, no doubt.
Yeah, it is. Set up that you got a sinker ball pitcher there. Why not set up the double play? Matt Herges, the veteran reliever, warming up. Say it every year, but you know, why would clubs pitch to Albert unless they fear the guy hitting behind?
End of story.
Yeah, and I mean, and even if they do have a substantial bat and you have a big power bat, Troy Glaus, it still makes sense to pitch around one of the most dangerous hitters in all the league.
And this is why this spot in the lineup for Tony La Russa this season is so important. It is every year, but this year, no Edmonds, no Roland. You've got to have somebody step up. And it could be Ankiel, it could be Glaus, it could be Duncan, but somebody needs to protect Albert Pujols.
Need that protection in front and behind.
We talked about it a little bit in game one of this series. You know, you look at the second half of this lineup, and there's a significant drop-off. You know, going back to last year, Kennedy only hit .219. You're not expecting a ton offensively from Molina. You got the pitcher and then Cesar Izturis. So this is where the damage, more times than not, has to be done.
Yeah, and also the fact, too, that bottom part of the order, there's a lot of singles hitters in there. So you'd have to bunch walks, hits, multiples of those in order to score.
Let's see what Glaus can do here. 0 for 2 with a pair of flyouts to right. First and third, first pitch taken inside. 3-1 Cardinals. And Keel is homer tonight. Ludwig with an RBI triple. The 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes. On deck, Rick Ankiel, and he's had the damage tonight. 2 for 2. Key spot this game for Aaron Cook. Lifted into right. Over to make the catch is Brad Hopp. A runner will tag and score. That's Ludwig, and all of a sudden it's now 4-1 St. Louis.
Now, Aaron Cook, a sinker ball pitcher, he has to be kicking himself that he gives up the sacrifice fly, trying to pound the inside part of the plate. Then he gets the ball a little bit out over the plate, and the third fly ball to right field off the bat of Troy Glaus, but this time good enough for a sac fly and a 4-1 Cardinal lead.
Here's Rick Ankiel, and he looks at a strike on the outside corner.
Now, Rick Ankiel went deep 11 times in 172 at bats in his first season as a full-time outfielder, and a lot of success right here in this ballpark a year ago. 319 average, nearly a 700 slugging percentage.
That misses outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And he's already homered 1 time in his 5 plate appearances this year at home.
Had great numbers a season ago here at Busch. Runner at first is Albert Pujols. Check on him. Count even. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals have picked up 2 runs here in the 5th. They had 1 in the 4th and 1 in the 2nd. They lead it 4-1. So how do they play defensively with Rick Ankiel at the plate? Lots of room into right center field. And it's a bit surprising because you looked at his hits last year, everything seemed to be pull conscious, and during spring training this year, that certainly wasn't the case. He was able to go to left field a little bit more than we saw during the regular season last year.
Yeah, straight away in the outfield, definitely not Busch bunching him or playing him to pull.
Ankiel, another base hit into right. 3 for 3, 2 singles and the home run. Got to be aware if you're that runner at first base. This one almost catches Pujols.
Off speed pitch, keeps his head down on that, really accentuating keeping the head down, and gets quick hands, pulls it through. Albert, quick feet. He's hit the ball hard all 3 times. The first one was a bullet right up the middle that almost nailed the pitcher.
Now Molina, who's 1 for 2 on the night. Singled back in the 2nd inning and grounded out to first. Two outs, runners at first and second. Of course, Molina picked up the first home run of the season for the Cardinals last night. Solo shot as the Redbirds won, or rather lost, 2-1.
Look at that.
Kip Wells, Marquis, and Esteban Yan.
Oh, former
teammates.
Cardinals teammates. You don't think they appreciate his defensive skills and said, hey, we're going to help you out a little bit.
We're just going to groove one right here.
Yeah, we're going to groove one. Well, we were talking about, we always talk about how intelligent he is and how well he works with his pitchers. Part of that is if I ever face him, does he have an advantage? Does he know the tendencies of what one of his former pitchers might throw or what they like to throw?
One of the guys that helps him out so much is standing at second base too, and that's Albert Pujols. Those two are best of friends, and Yachty always looks to Albert for help. That one caught Torey Alba. And Molina says, I know how you feel, where you're coming from.
Foul ball, and sometime that catcher will reach up and leaves parts unknown unprotected.
Training staff out to visit with Yorvit Torrealba. Count of 2 balls and 1 strike. Albert Pujols in his 8th major league season. Molina, opening day starter 4 consecutive years, visiting there with his third base coach. But those two have really developed a close bond over the last few seasons. Molina and Pujols.
Rightfully so.
2 big contributors in this game. Ryan Ludwig, Troy Glaus with an RBI. First is a Cardinal. Ludwig hit it out to center and almost out of the ballpark.
Somewhat of a common theme right there with the skin heads.
Close cropped. Yeah, talking about the guys that Molina has hit these home runs against, but Kip Wells, another former teammate, was terrific last night. That was as well as we saw him pitch all last season.
Well, you know, his ERA in games he won was under 2. Games he lost, it was, you know, way up there in the stratosphere, almost 9, and respectable in his no decisions. But
well, I think he'd be the first to tell you he needed a change of scenery. I mean, 17 losses, banished to the bullpen, talk of being released at different points in time last year, and got off to such a poor start for Tony, and everything just kind of snowballed after that.
But, you know, we talked about his body language at times last year and how poor it was, and we didn't see those signs. You know, he helped himself that way.
Two balls, one strike on Yadier Molina. 4-1 Cardinals here in the 5th. Fly ball into right center. Over to get it. Willie Taveras puts it away. Cardinals will strand 2, but they pick up 2. 4-1 St. Louis. Let's take a look at our What's on Tap as we welcome you back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis on a cold, chilly night. Bud Light keeps it coming. Well, we hope to have the rain stay away tomorrow at 11. We're on FSN Midwest, the Rockies and the Cardinals. Pregame show at 11. First pitch at 12:10. Good seats still available here at Busch Stadium. Our understanding, though, is that rain is in the forecast morning, afternoon, and night. Our call to the bullpen. How about the confidence that Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan are showing here, bringing in Kyle McClellan to face 4, 5, and 6 in the lineup for Colorado. That says something.
Well, you have to, and he earned this, and if he's going to be up here, he has to pitch.
Projected to be a starter in the minor leagues at AAA Memphis. Retired Matt Holliday last night in his first major league appearance. The 1-0 pitch. Holliday, hard hit to short. Cesar Izturis up with it. Couple of pitches, 1 out. First time that Holliday has been retired tonight. Cardinals get a decent outing now from Todd Wellemeyer as we look at the first batter faced. The careers of Franklin, Izzy, Springer, Flores, and Reyes.
I would think that Kyle McClellan's first opponent was a little tougher than all those.
I would say so as well. Saw Brian McRae on that list, son of Hal McRae. And Brian was here this week, spending opening day with his dad. Lives in Kansas City. Grounder to Troy Gloss. He's up with it. 2 away. And one of the things, too, about McClellan that we were told is that he works pretty quickly, and that was what the minor league scouts were telling us. And we've seen that in spring training last night and again tonight. Host your next party at the ballpark and leave the entertaining to us. Cardinals party rooms feature complimentary beer, soda, snacks, plus a great view of the game, outdoor seats, air conditioning once it heats up. STLCardinals.com to find out more. Kyle McClellan, way to go. Midway through 6. 2 scoreless outings for the righty. 4-1 Cardinals.
Guys.
All right, Jim, thank you. And Jim had a nice piece on the brand new Champions Club here at Busch Stadium. They actually knocked down the walls of 10 of the suites along the third base line, and they have the brand new Champions Club. For anybody that's been lucky enough to have a green seat, very similar to that. Lazy fly ball into left, and the catch made by Matt Holliday. Kennedy retired. He's 0 for 3. Our Firestone in-game box score as Aaron Cook pitches into the 6th. And the Cardinals have a lead of 4-1. Cardinals with a run in the 2nd, 1 in the 4th, and 2 in the 5th. And here's the first plate appearance for Kyle McClellan. So it's not just 1 inning for Kyle McClellan tonight. And with the way that he's been pitching, why not?
Well, he only threw 6 pitches his first time. He will not be available tomorrow. So go out there and ride it as long as you can. But you know what? We talk about body language. And remember, you were just talking about how fast he works. That's another indication where you're telling the other team that I'm not afraid of you.
On the outside corner, misses 2-2. And a strikeout for Cook. His 3rd strikeout of the night. This portion of Cardinal Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. And by your local St. Louis Chrysler Jeep dealers.
See that bat boy right there? With Babe Ruth on his left. That's Bill DeWitt Jr.
Is that right?
Is actually that uniform was also in the Hall of Fame. You know that?
I did.
And why?
Eddie Goodell, right?
Yeah. Eddie Goodell, when he got his one-day contract as the stunt, the diminutive, trying to be politically correct. I don't know if you can say, you know, battered. The commissioner said you can't have that. Wore Bill DeWitt Jr.'s uniform.
Isturis pops out to short. And Aaron Cook is through 6. We move to the 7th. McClellan back to work. Another look at Mr. DeWitt as a youngster with the Babe. 4-1 St. Louis. Full day tomorrow on FSN Midwest. Tune in beginning at 11 in the morning. It's Game 3 of the Cardinals opening series against the Rockies, and at 6:30 the Blues will drop the puck against the Nashville Predators. Rockies and Cards at 11. Blues Predators at 6:30 tomorrow on FSN Midwest. I don't know if you noticed, it kind of turned into a long season on the ice.
Unfortunately.
Yes, it did. 7th inning rolls in. 4-1 Cardinals. Torrealba hits it to short. Isturis up with it. Kyle McClellan is making this look too easy, isn't he?
Well, let me just tell you something. The 3 hitters, Holiday, Atkins, and Hop, that he retired in order last night and again tonight, combined for 90 home runs and 364 RBIs last season.
Well, it's got to be a shot of confidence for him when they put him into this kind of spot.
And also give Dave Duncan some credit, because Dave Duncan saw him very early in camp and really just sit there and started saying, this is a kid that's got a phenomenal future. And remember, you know, he missed almost 22 months with multiple surgeries on his elbow, reconstructed the elbow. And the first person, and probably the guy that, you know, he was, both of them, Dr. Paletta and Kyle, were really probably enjoyed last night and again tonight more than anybody. And his parents, family.
Don't forget them.
And his lovely bride.
Now, at some point, though, Kyle McClellan, you know, we see him here in the major leagues as a reliever. The idea, though, would be to have him start at some point in his career.
But this is the best place. If you want to be a future starter, get to the big leagues. You can, you know, a manager can, and pitching coach can kind of adjust your roles, do your thing out there, learn how to face big league hitters, and don't get overexposed.
Slowly hit to short, glove by Isturis. Nice play. The speedy Jason Nix is now over 3. Sports Ultimate Nightly Highlight Show is here. It's the FSN Final Score, the only nightly show and national show that gives you nothing but wall-to-wall highlights. It's the FSN Final Score tonight at 10:30 here on FSN Midwest. Scott Pasednik won a World Series championship with the White Sox. Will dig in, and he'll be the pinch hitter for Aaron Cook. Cook will finish the night trailing 4-1. Scott Pasednik made the club late for Colorado. Last season at .243, couple of home runs and 11 driven in.
Non-roster player, one of 2 to make the Rockies, and Good to see him back in the National League. Boy, remember his rookie year with Milwaukee.
Up the middle, base hit. Pasetnik is aboard. So that's the first base hit given up by Kyle McClellan.
But you know what? It was a ground ball that just found a hole. So, I mean, still, you can say that he made an effective pitch.
85 pitches for Cook on the night. Back to the top of this lineup for the Rockies as we play here at the top of the 7th, and the Cardinals leading 4-1. Willie Taveras 0 for 3, pair of strikeouts, and he was robbed by Rick Ankiel back in the 3rd. Folks that are just joining us, it was a terrific play and catch in right center field, a diving catch by Ankiel. Troy Glosson at 3rd. Pujols holding at 1st. Cardinals still have to go through the heart of this lineup before the night is done. There goes Pasetnik, a chance for Molina again. Oh,
nice.
Quick tag there by Kennedy. Nicely done.
And Kennedy got the short hop and applied a tag very quickly. And that obviously was stolen off of Kyle McClellan. He even looked like he wanted to run, stand at first base.
That's what he was known for, his great speed with Milwaukee and then the White Sox.
So go in there, go to the back of the bag as the throw was to the left field side of second.
2 balls, no strikes. Taveras hammers it into center. And that's going to scoot away from Ankiel. Taveras on his way to second. Ankiel comes up firing, not in time. It's a base hit and RBI for Willie Taveras. And now it's a 4-2 St. Louis lead. Toughest ball is the one that's hit right at you. Thankfully for Ankiel, he kept this in front. Because if that gets by him, that could be an inside the park home run.
Yeah, he got to the point where he wanted to dive, then he was caught in between. You saw him pull up and try to block the ball. It just slightly got away from him. With Taveras, that great speed, he gets into second base. But, you know, as you said, if it gets clean by him, goes back to the wall, Taveras not only circles the bases, he might go back to first base on top of it, get 5 bases. He's got that speed.
Cardinals have a lefty getting loose in the pen. We have yet to see Ron Malone. He's one of 2 lefties out there.
Malone warming up, and looks like Springer also.
Cardinal fans, make sure to visit Busch Bash in the Ford Plaza prior to each Friday home game. Busch Bash features prizes, live music, and a Cardinals player. And this Friday, it will feature Adam Wainwright from 6 until 6:30. For tickets, call 345-9000 or head to the Cardinals website at stlcardinals.com.
One of the other additional benefits for the fans with having so many young players, I think you're going to see a lot of guys like Adam Wainwright and position players, regulars that are going to be out there at times, all wanting to be fan friendly.
Troy Tulowitzki spins away from a breaking ball inside. This is a real key spot in this game right now is Tulowitzki. We've talked about tremendous power for a shortstop. 24 home runs. He represents the tying run at the plate. He had 24 a year ago, and that was the NL rookie record for shortstops. Pitch that's up, but a strike. 1-2.
And the National League record, second most ever, and his 99 RBIs last year were the most ever by a rookie shortstop.
Todd Helton was saying you could just see from day one that this guy was going to be a tremendous talent, the way that he carries himself on and off the field. Breaking ball in the dirt, scoots away from Molina. Taveras moves up to 3rd. Well, you know, one guy who is dying to get back out on the mound for the Cardinals is Ryan Franklin after what took place last night. Real tough 8th inning.
And really what happened was his first 2 or 3 sliders, he just missed location, left him up out over the plate. But with 2 outs and Taveras' great speed, on a base hit, he was going to score from second.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Tulowitzki strikes out. McClellan gives up his first run in his career. Cuts a lead to back in St. Louis at Busch Stadium, where the Cardinals have a lead of 4-2. This pitch is filthy. Our Hardy's hot pitch of the game, Troy Tulowitzki striking out to end the top of the 7th.
Well, you really like to see him, after giving up a run, getting that run over third base, not give in at all and just battle back and show you how tough he is.
Returning for the 7th season, it's the Hyundai Long Drive inning. Your chance to win a 2008 Hyundai Sonata begins April 28th at your St. Louis area Hyundai dealers. And here is Matt Herges. He's been around for a while. Came up back in 1999 with the Dodgers. Also pitched with Montreal, San Diego, San Francisco, Arizona, Florida, and back with Colorado. He was 5-1 a year ago.
He was 38 yesterday.
Top of the lineup for St. Louis. Here's Skip Schumacher. A swing and a miss. Skip has a run scored, but he is 0 for 3. Our call to the bullpen is brought to you by Chevrolet. As I look at the media guide, I find the official mascot of the Colorado Rockies. And Al, I know you are a baseball historian, so I'll put you on the spot. Do you know the name of the official mascot of the Colorado Rockies?
Banger, I think, but he looks more like a...
You're on the right path. It's not quite Banger. It is
Dinger.
Dinger.
Well, you know, let's
Dinger.
make sure the home run.
That's right.
Another vernacular for hitting a home run, Dinger. And he's also a prehistoric reptile.
I didn't know that.
Well, doesn't he look like a dinosaur?
All I know is he's beginning his 14th season as Dinger.
Oh, man. Fredbird's an old timer compared to him.
He's a vet. 1-2, the count on Schumacher. Curveball in the dirt. Schumacher, Ludwig, and Pujols. Remember Yuppie?
Yeah.
The Fanatic.
No, you cannot put the Philly Fanatic.
The chicken.
And then mention Yuppie. You put Yuppie in the category as the crab.
There's Troy Glaus, and Troy with an RBI tonight. Two-two pitch to Skip Schumacher. Got him. Burgess records a strikeout.
Well, the one thing these Rockies, they feel their bullpen is going to be a real strength for them. Sign Vizcaino, gets right in there on him. Look at that downward action on the sinker. Kind of that one that comes inside. Lefty thinks it's going to be inside to him, then it tails slightly back to the corner.
Here's Ludwig, almost hit one out of the ballpark to dead center field. Right above the 400-foot sign, and a breaking ball is taken low in the dirt. Ludwig tripled, picked up the RBI. He is struck out and also flied out to left. One-oh pitch from Matt Herges. Right down central. Ludwig getting the start in right field. Of just joining us, Chris Duncan sidelined with a hamstring injury, so Schumacher in left, Ludwig in right, and Keel is in center. Again, right down the middle. 1-2. Matt Herges from Champaign, Illinois. The Fighting Illini. Well, we highlighted the Missouri Tigers on opening day, but not to be forgotten, the Fighting Illini. And what they did this year is they made it to the Rose Bowl. Bruce Weber, a great run in the postseason tournament of the Big Ten for basketball. 2-2 pitch on its way. Ludwig, good piece of hitting, goes down to get it, and a base hit out to left. Looked like he was almost fooled by the pitch. It made the adjustment.
I think it's more just made a good adjustment, you know, or if he was out in front a little bit, his hands are back enough to see. He went down there and got it and just threw the bat at it at the end, but he's recognized it enough to where he was under control and then used his hands to flick that ball out there. But you know, he recognized that was a pitch that he could handle. He is a low ball hitter.
Here is Albert Pujols tonight, on base 3 times. Pair of walks, one of those intentional, also a single. And this is what you're talking about before, when you have to have a lineup that contributes in front of Albert Pujols and behind him, because now you've got to pitch to him.
Yeah, there'd be situations where a ball club would just say, okay, first, you know, nobody on, Albert up there, I'll just walk him, pitch around him, make him get himself out, or just flat out get a walking and make the next guy do the damage. But with a runner on in front of him, they've got to pitch to him.
Got to be a lonely feeling out there if you're Matt Hergis and facing one of the best in Albert Pujols.
Well, a good competitor wants that. Try and create that one-on-one challenge.
This is outside, and he's been in this spot plenty of times. 2 balls, no strikes on Albert.
Albert got his 1 base hit as he bounced the ball through the right side. And they still don't believe that he's going to consistently do that. In the outfield, they play him to the opposite field. In the infield, more straight away.
3-0. Dave McKay will go over it with his base runners, but more times than not, if a ball scoots away, if you don't feel it's 100% complete, you're getting to second base with Pujols up, stay put. No need to chance it.
Well, and like you say, you don't want to take the bat out of his hands.
Right.
Especially when it's 3-0. So unless you know you can walk down there, and this is only a situation with Albert hitting, you know, at times it's better play to stay at first.
3-0 the count. Pujols, you know, he's got the green light. So on base for the 4th time tonight is Albert Pujols. And again, this is where the damage has to be done in this lineup behind Albert. Troy Glaus will dig in.
Troy Glaus is 0 for 6 with a sac fly in 08. And one of his outs was a strikeout. The rest have all been outs to the right side. Ground out to first and five fly ball outs to the right field.
So runners at first and second with 1 out. 4-2. Cardinals trying to add some insurance here in the 7th. And Troy pulls it foul. Right past Jose Oquendo.
I believe not a sellout tonight, and that breaks a string of 165 consecutive sellouts here for the Cardinals, going every game prior to tonight.
Hey, you got to go back to the old Bush.
Yeah, and you know, the last one there was sold out too, so maybe the last couple.
Runners at first and second, the 0-1 pitch. Another pitch that Glaus spins away from, almost his reaction as if to say, that's my pitch. Rick Ankiel on deck. Big night, 3 for 3. Solo home run. 2 runs scored.
On the way he's swinging the bat, Hergis barring a double play, he will not face Rick Ankiel.
Rockies have 2 left-handers in their bullpen. We saw both last night.
And one's warming up right now.
Here comes an 0-2 pitch to Troy Glaus. That says something about your bullpen when you've got a 3-time All-Star as your setup man and Brian Fuentes to get to Manny Corpus. Luxury for Clint Hurdle.
it's odd, but now you look at the Rockies team. You got a tremendous offense, but they're kind of built around pitching and defense.
Well, they changed their mindset once the humidor became, part of what is now Rockies baseball. It's normal. So why not, try to get what plays to your ballpark, which at the time it made all the sense in the world to go out and get offense, but you don't need to do that anymore. But they've got a loaded lineup and good pitching.
Bowie, the lefty, is coming in again tonight.
So Clint Hurdle will go to his bullpen with 2 runners on and 2 outs. And Rick Ankiel digs in when we come back. It's 4-2 St. Louis.
Other burgers are circular or rectangular, but the steak burger is spatula.
Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers.
So here's a left-hander. Bowie's into the ball game, and it's 4-2 Cardinals as St. Louis has out-hit Colorado 7-6. And he will face Rick Ankiel.
He's kind of bounced around for a long time, 33 years of age, several different clubs. And Rick Ankiel has been the biggest offensive weapon of the night. 3 for 3, 2 runs scored, a home run, 2 singles. Ninth time already in Rick's career he's had 3 hits.
So big nut for Ankiel. Let's see what he can do now with 2 outs.
He has never had a 4-hit night, but he's going to get a shot here.
Lefty-lefty matchup here for Rick Ankiel. And the pitch is taken for a ball outside. Albert Pujols is the runner at first. Ryan Lundwick, the runner at second base.
Talked about last year how he's so pull conscious, but facing a lot more lefties, and he worked on it in spring training trying to go to the opposite field. They're going to predominantly try to pitch him away.
Time called by the catcher, Torey Alba. Now Bowie is set. 1 ball, 1 strike. We're in the 7th of a 4-2 game. Cardinals lead it. Coming up, it'll be the heart of the lineup for the Rockies: Helton, Holiday, and Atkins. The 1-1 pitch to Rick Ankiel. 1-2. Question for Tony La Russa now: do you bounce back with Ryan Franklin and put him in the fire yet again?
Absolutely. I mean, that you have to do that. What happened yesterday was just, hey, first outing. Malone will start the inning. He'll get help.
Those two were teammates in Colorado, Ron Malone and Todd Helton.
Depending on what Rick does here, Malone will come in and get the Helton matchup, and then I think it will be Franklin coming in.
1-2 pitch is popped up behind home plate. Torey Alba gets rid of the mask near the screen, and he makes a good play. So the Cardinals will strand 2. They have left 7 on, and we have played 7 here at Busch Stadium. It's 4-2 St. Louis. Geico quote from Bob Gibson: I owe the public just one thing, a good performance. Our Geico quote from the Hall of Famer, visiting with George Frazier, who works on the Rockies television side prior to the game. He said, I love coming back to St. Louis. Of course, he played briefly here, but he said one of the reasons why is because you never know who you might run into at the ballpark. And the other day he ran into number 45 Bob Gibson, along with Ozzie and Stan the Man, Lou Brock, the Hall of Famers, all here on opening day. Here's Ron Valone. Made 37 appearances last year. Makes the Cardinals roster as one of the 2 left-handers in the bullpen. And this marks his 11th team in the major leagues.
He's 38 years of age. And he's a guy that could spot start, long relief, or now with Tyler Johnson on the disabled list, he's kind of a situational left-hander.
If you're wondering about the record, how many teams one player's appeared with, it's Mike Morgan. He was in St. Louis at one time in the mid-90s for Tony La Russa. Mike Morgan had a major league record 12 teams.
12 teams.
37 appearances last year with the Yankees. No record, ERA just over 5 for Ron Valone. 1-1 to Todd Helton, swing and a miss. Opponents only hit .234 against him, so that's one of the reasons why you continue to get a job. Lefties hit .239, right-handed batters .230.
You know how good Todd Helton's been. 2000, 2007, he's recorded 377 doubles.
On the outside corner, and he struck him out. Helton didn't like it, but a strikeout on the outside corner here for Ron Valone. Big out.
Yeah. Get consciously inside, and then you paint the corner out there, and Ron does his job, and here comes Ryan Franklin. So Tony, smart enough to know that you go out there and you have a rough outing last night, you get him back in there as quick as you possibly can.
Appearance number 581 for the 38-year-old left-hander. Successful one. Franklin coming in. 4-2 St. Louis, top of the 8th, and this is Ryan Franklin with 1 out. Right back into the fire is Franklin after a rough outing last night. He'll face Matt Holliday and then Garrett Atkins. He suffered the loss last night as 2 unearned runs were charged to him in the 8th. 0-1 in the spring with 2 saves. And he says that he is still really trying to battle mechanics right now in the bullpen. But that'll help out. Fly ball to Ludwig for out number 2.
And mechanically he was a little bit off, and he left his slider or cutter over the middle of the plate and up. And that's what he's trying to correct. He got an out on it right there. And later on, he made good pitches with the slider, but not to the first couple hitters.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Along with Al Rabowski, I'm Dan McLaughlin and our Bud Productions crew. Two balls, no strikes on Garrett Atkins. Hard hit is Turris, can't come up with it. A base hit for Garrett Atkins.
Now you're 5'7", 8", and you need to be 5'9". Scorch, he's on his toes, he gets up and reaches the apex and just knocked it straight up in the air. Couldn't come down with it.
Here's Hop. Dangerous man at the plate here. He's already homered tonight. Homered back in the 4th. And that was off of Todd Wellemeyer. Bullpen trying to make it stick as Wellemeyer gave the Cardinals 5 innings. 1 run allowed on 4 hits. He walked 3 and struck out 6.
Here we go. He was Mr. Clutch. Just unbelievable what he would do with 2 outs.
One of the best in baseball.
Bill James identified Brad as last year's Major League clutch hitter of the year.
The 1-1 pitch. Out to right. At the wall, and it's off the wall. Ankiel backing up. A run will score, and that cuts the lead to 4-3. So the RBI for Brad Hop is second on the night, and it's now a 1-run game.
That 2-out hitting continues for Hop. Watch here, the ball goes off the screen, and Keel backs up, but the two cutoff men are so close together. And Ankiel has such a strong arm, I mean, at times he doesn't need it. And then Kennedy missed the connection. And Hop ends up with a double, the second RBI of the game. And it is a one-run game now.
Lefty getting loose in the bullpen for Colorado. No activity for St. Louis.
Fuentes.
Torrealba has doubled tonight, struck out and grounded out to short. Cardinals lead it by a run. Your beat, Torrealba. Some big hits down the stretch for the Rockies as they wound up going 21-1 before getting to the World Series, and a big reason why is the guy at the plate.
Started all the games in the playoffs.
They won 14 of 15 in the regular season, and 2 sweeps. 1-1 pitch to Torrealba. Nasty. A swing and a miss.
Might have been the split finger pitch there.
And that's his best pitch.
It's his best pitch, but he got hurt with the slider last night. Yeah, there's a splitter grip. And look at how that ball starts at shoulder high and then bounces at the plate.
1-2 the count. Count even, 2-2. Ryan Franklin, 35 years of age. Frank tied for 6th in the National League last season with 30 holds. Made 69 appearances for the Cardinals in 07. 80 innings and an ERA just over 3. A lot of that damage done in the final month of the season. Slowly hit. Pujols there. He'll take it himself. Rockies, though, do pick up a run. Cuts a lead to 4-3 midway through 8. Package put together by Brian McCann in our truck. Good work. And the Cardinals have a lead of 4-3. 2 well-played games the last couple of nights. Luis Vizcaino, who was one of the main free agent signings for the Rockies, which then upped their payroll just to slightly above $70 million. But last year he was with the New York Yankees. He's been durable, reliable. He was part of the White Sox World Series team a few years ago, and signed in the offseason for spots like this.
Well, he's one of those guys that'll give a lot of innings of work for Clint Hurdle, and with the Yankees last year. Tide Springer, the most wins, 8 for a reliever in baseball. And he's had 360 appearances the last 5 years coming out of the pen. That's 4th most in all of baseball.
So 5 different teams in the last 7 seasons for Luis Vizcaino. Yadier Molina, who is single tonight, will lead it off for the Cardinals here in the 8th. Vizcaino from the Dominican, listed at 5'11", 210-pounder.
Cardinals has seen him when he was with Milwaukee, and you always liked his arm. You liked the elasticity that he could work a lot.
Pitch is popped up by Molina. Torrealba, foul territory, makes the catch and the play for the first out. The Brewers win today over the Chicago Cubs. Jeff Suppan is now 1-0. Pitches into the 7th at Wrigley Field. Ryan Braun 3 for 5 with an RBI. Jason Kendall, who is now a part of the Brewers, 3 for 4. Ricky Weeks a solo home run. Cubs had a solo home run by Lee and Soto, who is now their everyday catcher. Brewers are going to score a ton this year. They've got a very, very good lineup. But can they pitch? And do they have a closer?
And, you know, with pressure put on them, can they get over the hump and learn how to win? They're getting closer.
The Reds beat the Diamondbacks 6-5.
And I mentioned that the Washington Nationals are following the Rockies in here, be playing over the weekend. They win again 1-0 on a home run by Zimmerman. He had the heroics on opening day in their new ballpark, and then he hit 1-0 home run, solo shot. He wins the game tonight.
How about that draft class of 2005? Ryan Zimmerman part of that. Upton was part of it. Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop of the Rockies. Ryan Braun, slugger for Milwaukee. Braves over the Pirates 10-2.
Rico Washington is going to pinch hit for Franklin. Is Izzy getting loose?
Astros lead the Padres, bottom of the second, 2-0. There's a base hit for Kennedy. It's 3 base hits in the last couple of nights. Upcoming schedule for St. Louis. Colorado tomorrow, on the air at 11 a.m. First road trip, we head to Houston, then San Francisco without Barry Bonds, and no sign of Bonds at their ballpark. See Milwaukee
banners wise, and
yeah, they've said they have no interest in having him as a player nor on their walls.
Yeah, I mean, removed a lot of the banners and everything in his home run chase.
One out, and this is Rico Washington. Hit and run was on, and hit on a play and foul.
Even the chickens are gone.
For all the intentional walks.
Right.
Well, let's just say he's had a few problems off the field that might make you think twice about signing Barry Bonds. Just a couple, Al.
I don't know if he has had any more than some others.
Oh, he's had his fair share, I think.
Oh, sure. But he's not a lone ranger in that department.
Rico Washington trying to pick up his first major league base hit as Vizcaíno steps off.
He made his major league debut last night and trying to make an impression while he's here. I think Brendan Ryan, when he recovers from his rib cage injury, Rico would probably be sent back, but it's a great story. A young man that persevered a lot. 11 years in the minor leagues. How about 980 at bats in the minor leagues?
At some point, you're probably thinking to yourself, it's never going to happen. Perseverance.
It used to be that, you know, down in the minor leagues, you know, you had to have anywhere from 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 before they knew what type of hitter you were, and 1,000 here in the big leagues to know if there was a change.
Vizcaíno working slowly. The 0-1 pitch. Pitch out and undoing, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Spot as a utility guy opened up after the off the field problems for Scott Spiezio, and Spiezio was just signed by the Atlanta Braves. And hopefully he can turn things around. The 1-1 pitch taken upstairs. And that was one of the spots going into spring training that was going to be major competition. Spiezio, Brendan Ryan. All of a sudden, a guy like Rico Washington catches your attention.
Well, you would assume that Brendan Ryan was the odd guy out, but Spiezio would have to do something, and he eventually did, to lose his spot.
Out to deep right center field. At the track. It's at the wall, and it's off the wall, and hops over the top, it looks like. Nope, they're going to say it's in play. And scoring all the way from first is Kennedy, and Washington is going to wind up at third. His first ever major league base hit, and he drives in a run.
How knowledgeable are these Cardinal fans? Barry Weinberg trying to get that ball. McKindo is just flagged it down, but he's got a little pop in his bat. He hit a home run over the weekend in Springfield. One hops the wall here. He's got good speed. It's Kennedy. He's coming around. Oh, Kennedy, I think, thought it was a home run. And listen to the crowd. Rico.
I believe Clint Hurdle's going to go out and question as to whether or not this should be a ground rule double. If that's the case, then Kennedy has to return to third.
Yeah, but I don't think it was. And I think they'll let it stay. Yeah, that's exactly right. The umpire said no. Maybe Clint's saying, okay, it's standing here, but is there fan interference? And there is not. The outfielders do not play it as if there's interference. That fan doesn't touch it. He doesn't get anywhere near it. So good call by the umpiring crew. Good try by Clint Hurdle.
And it gives the Cardinals a little cushion now, 2-run lead. So way to go, Rico Washington. Congratulations, picking up his first ever Major League base hit and RBI.
All three of the rookies have done something. Barton got hit in his first plate appearance. Rico now has got his first hit and RBI in his second Major League plate appearance. And Kyle McClendon has had a good first 2 games in the big leagues.
Infield is drawn in with 1 out, 2-run lead, and Isturis certainly would be a squeeze play candidate.
Just putting that thought in their head, opening up a lot of hitting lanes. And you can see their defense is Cayeno a little trying to figure out what's going on here.
Jason Nix is due up first for Colorado. Looking ahead to the 9th, Jason Isringhausen has gotten up and stretching in the bullpen for St. Louis. Mets pounded the Marlins today, 13-0. Perez got the win. David Wright 3 for 5 with a 3-run homer. Red Sox in the American League over Oakland 5-0. Lester the victory. Ortiz along with Veritek would go deep.
Huh. Pitch out and he almost threw it over the plate.
A few years ago, Tony La Russa used that squeeze play an awful lot.
Well, I think with the makeup of this offense, that might be employed more so than it was last year. Normally, you have a right-handed batter there, but Isturis kind of guy that can handle it.
Fouled straight back. Cesar Isturis is grounded out to first. He's walked and also popped out to short. A left-handed batter as opposed to a right-handed batter certainly makes a difference as to whether or not you might want to squeeze.
Typically you don't do it because you can just pitch out and there's nothing really, and the catcher goes down the line. The only thing a lefty can do is throw the bat at it.
2 balls and a strike.
And I think Tony La Russa right here too is going to say, I want to show confidence in Isturis, and with the infield in, just hit the ball hard someplace. One out, fly ball comes a sacrifice fly.
It's hit out of play and foul into the seats. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now with 2 strikes, let's see how Clint Hurdle wants to play his infield.
See if they go back or if they stay in. Appears they're going to stay in.
Rico Washington has given the Cardinals a 5-3 lead. Infield stays in. The 2-2 pitch is Isturis. Pulls it foul.
As far as Atkins is playing off the third base bag, Washington get a bigger lead down there at third.
He is way off the line. Room into right center. Outfield is shallow for Cesar Isturis. Time called.
See how far he's at that cutout. Doesn't the cutout look a lot larger than normal?
Yes, it does.
So it even accentuates the lead that Washington. I mean, this difference here is so much greater than I remember it being here in St. Louis. come from above, you can see that it looks like it, before it used to be more like that. And it's the same uniform at first and third.
2-2 pitch. Oh. And Izturis gets a gift.
But the other side of it, that a pitch up there is a real easy pitch to get a sac fly with. They just run the count full now.
Count of 3-2. Here it comes. Izturis pulls it foul again. Well, you ask him to put it in play, trying to make something happen here. It's a big run out there. Rico Washington standing at third base.
Rico delivered and knocked in a big run, but as you said, there's a 3-run cushion if Izturis can drive him in.
Post-game show is coming up. 3-2 pitch. That'll find the seats out of play. Pat Paris, Ricky Horton, Brent Stover, and Jim Hayes all standing by for the post-game show. You'll hear from Tony La Russa and the players and all the highlights coming up. U.S. Cellular, Cardinals Live after the game. Izturis will dig back in. Count is full. And he walked him. Good at bat by Cesar Izturis.
It's 2 walks for Izturis tonight, and that's one thing that they want to see, an improved on-base percentage.
Well, the inning started with Molina popping out. And a single by Kennedy. He came around to score. The extra base hit from Rico Washington. Izturis draws the walk. And it brings in the top of this lineup for the Cardinals, Skip Schumacher. Here in the Cardinals half of the 8th. Schumacher with a run scored, but no base hits. Don't see that very often as Tony La Russa calls over first base coach Dave McKay.
Well, he's going to talk to Izturis right now and talk about maybe trying to steal a run. Try and decoy it a little bit, but talk about game situation here. What, maybe if Schumacher gets down on the count quickly, like he will take off for second base, stop halfway, try to get in a rundown and see if Washington can come home.
Jose Oquendo says something to Washington. Vizcaíno comes set. And you do that to see possibly what is being given away on the field.
Yeah, but like I said, you could do it on any pitch. They're conscious of it, but if you throw a pitch or two, you fall behind, or you get ahead of Schumacher, then you may want to do it.
First pitch to Skip is taken for a ball. Izturis back to first. Schumacher is grounded out 3 different times tonight. He struck out his last time up. Called third strike back in the 7th.
He is really seen him mature as a player. Schumacher, every year he's gotten better.
We talk about Ankiel's arm. This guy's arm is very, very good, and he's got good speed. So defensively, you know what you're going to get. Just a question about being an everyday player, and also the responsibility of being a leadoff man in this lineup.
Rockies still not sure what Izturis is going to do over at first base, so you see the fake at third.
Kind of 1 ball, 1 strike on Skip Schumacher. 2-1. Isringhausen now is finally up on the mound and throwing in the bullpen. He's out there stretching for a good 5-10 minutes. As he looks to pick up save number 300 at some point this season.
19 shy.
The 2-1 pitch on its way. 2-2. If it would go to 3-2, what do you see the Cardinals possibly doing with that? If you head to that full count.
Well, 3-2. You would think that he would be running on the 2-2. We'll see.
Turris is over at first. He's not running, and Schumacher hits it out of play. Fan brought a glove and makes a nice play down in the stands to our left.
Bring your gloves, just keep your hands warm.
It is chilly. 51 degrees at first pitch. 24 pitches for Luis Vizcaino. Another 2-2. Making him work. Well, Schumacher has never had those high strikeout totals in the minor leagues. Pretty good on base percentage. Originally, he was a shortstop, moved to the outfield because of his speed and his arm. And he didn't mind it because he knew that was the path he had to take to the major leagues. See, Vizcaino will step off the mound onto the grass when he has to go to his mouth.
Turris had a 10-pitch at bat, and Schumacher's his totals mounting.
7th pitch on its way, taken low and outside, and he has worked the count full. So here we go. Here's the situation we were talking about. Let's see if the Cardinals want to start Turris from first. Got Ludwig on deck. The 3-2 pitch. Runner goes. Taken for a ball. Bases are loaded. Good at bat by your 9th place hitter in Turris, and that one there by Schumacher.
So again, you got that 9th place and leadoff man, kind of that double leadoff, and you've got to get on base. A walk's as good as a hit.
Saw Washington drive in Kennedy. He wound up at third as the relay got away. Walk to Turris, walk to Schumacher. He stands over at first. And now the base is loaded for Ryan Ludwig. Ludwig on the night has struck out. He has flied out to left. Then after that, RBI triple, runs scored, and a single back in the 7th. 5 for 16 in his career with the bases loaded. Not the debut that Colorado was looking for from Luis Vizcaino tonight. And possibly more damage to come. First pitch to Ludwig. It's a ball. It's now 28 pitches he has thrown.
It's almost like he's not staying on top of that slider. Buchholz throwing right-hander in the Rockies bullpen, not staying on top of it, just kind of spinning.
One ball, one strike.
And Ludwig's a low ball hitter and a breaking ball hitter.
Question for Tony La Russa: if it becomes a non-save situation, you've had your closer up and throwing, do you use him?
You know, Izzy kind of sitting down, but nobody else has gotten up. You know, Izzy did start the inning, then he did some more stretching, then started throwing again.
It was Tyler Johnson that Isringhausen was sitting next to. Starts the year on the DL. The 1-1 pitch. Ludwig cranks it out to left. Past Holiday and to the wall. 1 run in. Here comes another. A double for Ludwig, and it busts the game wide open. A double with the bases loaded to make it 7-3.
Watch the breaking ball. Watch the hands stay back. It's down, and he just pulls the trigger. And Holiday tries to go for the desperation catch. It comes up empty, and that gives at least another run. Watch Tony. As he sees this ball get in, now he's going to go pick up the phone, and they'll get somebody other. And it's like Anthony Reyes is starting to warm up. With the Cardinals, they have a 7-3 lead. Save your closer, non-situation, and a day game tomorrow. Nice going, Ryan Ludwig. Triple RBI, single, double, and 2 RBIs.
A bunch of games coming up in a row, too, which plays into the decision for Tony La Russa. Not a lot of off days. Next one is on the 14th, and now here is Pujols. First base is open. Runners at second and third. It's a 4-run lead. So Ludwig, a big night. Pujols has been on base 4 times tonight. He's been walked 3 times, one of those intentional, and he singled back in the third. It was just last season, first couple of months, it was so unlike Albert Pujols. He was really struggling. Looked like he was expanding his zone, chasing pitches that he normally would not go after, but at the end of the season, same old Albert. Reaches for this, and it is a fair ball. Pujols beats it out. Held him off the bag.
I thought he got to the bag ahead of the throw either way. But it should be an infield single, an RBI for Albert. And just like last year, what you were talking about, because of all the walks, he was expanding his strike zone. Kind of what he does on this one. Rolls over this one, trying to pull it. But good luck and a close play there. But the throw pulls Helton off the bag, and the Cardinals pick up another run.
It's one of those situations as a third baseman, do you let it roll foul? But I'm sure you're thinking at this point.
It bounced on the line, and then it looked like it bounced a little bit back towards the field, but still on the line twice.
You have to know who the hitter is, too. And if you have a chance to make a play on Albert Pujols, you go for it. So Buchholz will come in, and that's going to be it for Vizcaino. He gets roughed up here in the 8th. The Cardinals have played at 4. And Troy Glaus, who has struggled first couple of nights wearing this new uniform, will dig in. Cardinals have 11 hits tonight, and we'll step aside here on FSN Midwest. 8-3 St. Louis.
Welcome back to Busch Stadium as the Cardinals have blown things open here. They got 4 runs in the 8th. They're only 1 out, and runners at the corners. Taylor Buchholz, who appeared in last night's ball game through a scoreless 7th inning to give up a couple hits. See his numbers of last year. Kind of an interesting thing. Taylor spent all last season in the Colorado's active roster, one of just 4 pitchers on the staff that can make that claim. They had a lot of different injuries, and Troy Glaus still looking for his first Cardinal hit. Comes in here. 1 out and runners at first and third, Dan.
Well, you get the feeling, Alan, just watching him, and I know it's early, a couple of games, but pressing a little bit, trying to, come up with these kind of spots, deliver, home fans, new team, new manager, all that.
It's funny because you can be a seasoned veteran, but at times to revert back to just a kid and you put too much pressure on yourself trying to please a new organization. Then you complicate it with an error last night that allows the runs to score.
Loss rolls over on one, over to third, play at the plate, and out is Ludwig. 5-2 on the putout for out number 2. Ludwig, by the way, only 5 games with 3 or more RBIs in 2007. He had no triples in 2007. He has one tonight. And he has been the star offensively along with Rick Ankiel. Ankiel with 3 bases, 3 for 4, solo home run, 2 singles, 2 runs scored.
Ninth batter to bat here in the Cardinals' 8th inning. Reyes is sat down in the Cardinals pen, and now Russ Springer is throwing. The only thing that comes to mind there is you wonder if Anthony Reyes, who has his own routine of how to warm up, and it's as a starter, whether he feels comfortable enough getting rushed. You know, can he get loose quick enough to be a reliever?
I mean, you did it 1,000 times. Not everything is going to be perfect, though.
It's mental state, you know, but guys are creatures of habit. And right now, you know, he's kind of in that situation where he, you know, took exceptional time and routine even as a starter, and you got to adjust, and it'll come time.
And Keel tied up on the pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. How long would it take you to get loose?
It's not a question of that. What the question is, mentally, you tell yourself, I can walk right from the bullpen and take my 8 pitches and be ready. You convince yourself of that, knowing it'll never happen. Now you can get 5, 6 pitches down there even when they call you, and then you come out here. But it's preparation in between innings before you're called.
One of the interesting things that the Cardinals did a few years ago, they actually charted all the pitches that they felt Jason Isringhausen threw. And that was done by Marty Mason and Dave Duncan. They did it at the end of the season.
And they told him to, hey,
slow it down and
yeah,
don't
you threw way too much. You know,
right.
here was a guy with phenomenal success as a closer, but threw too much in the bullpen getting ready.
It was thousands of pitches. Check swing, and Keel will strike out. But the Cardinals, a big inning as they pick up the insurance here in the 8th. A 4-run 8th. And it's 8-3 St. Louis. 9th inning rolls in when we come back. Trinket City. And Russ Springer's into the ball game. It is now 8-3 Cardinals. Cardinals with a run in the 2nd, 1 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, and 4 more in the 8th. And Springer is on after an outstanding season a year ago in which he went 8-1.
16th big league season for this 39-year-old youngster.
Youngster, huh?
Oh yeah, but he pitched his best baseball here at home. ERA under 2, 5-0, and 39 appearances.
Here's Jason Nix, and he looks at a ball. Saw Springer in the ball game yesterday against these Rockies.
Picked up where he left off.
Yes, he did.
Pitched some of his best baseball against eventual playoff-bound teams.
Jason Nix pops one foul and out of play. Nix has grounded out, flied out, and struck out. Nix, a pinch hitter, and then the top of the lineup for Colorado. Coming up, it's the U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live postgame show. Plenty of that guy coming up. Rick Ankiel, big night.
Yeah. 3 hits, including his first home run of the year. Good defensive plays.
The 1-2 pitch to Nix. Fought off into center, and a base hit. So leadoff base hit for Jason Nix to start the night.
One of the things with Russ Springer is you know, I mentioned he's 39 years of age, but you know, he had an ERA of 0.68 with 2 or more days of rest. Pitched in last night's game, then you kind of mentally shut down a little bit, thinking it's going to turn it over to Izzy, and then you see Reyes thinking you're not going to work, and you kind of all of a sudden these hitters will get you right back in it.
It was surprising to see the Cardinals give up that lead, because when leading after 6 last year, they were 58-3. A lot of that was because of Springer, because of Franklin, Izzy at the back end.
And Dan, that statistically, the Cardinals bullpen was off the charts. And you know, we're assuming everyone's going to pick up. Springer did the job last night. Izzy did the job. Flores did pretty good. You know, really did a very good job in a very tough situation. And Franklin had a rough outing, but that's not going to happen. I'll take Ryan's going to be all right, but it's going to be. Don't think that everybody's going to have the same type of year that they had a year ago, because it was unbelievable that they all did it combined same year.
Comes a 2-0 pitch to Ryan Spilborghs, the pinch hitter, fouled back.
Loesch in last night's game, you just give him a star for going his 5 innings after only having 2 outings in spring training. And remember, they were shutout innings, but you've got to get more from your starters. That's the one concern until you get the A team, which will slowly, the A starters slowly coming back to the fold in the next 6 to 8 weeks. And then Carpenter, you got to wait until the second half. But it's going to be a juggling match for Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan, figuring out how to get enough innings out of the starters and get enough rest from the bullpen. I thought they did a remarkable job last year with so many times the starters were ineffective.
2-2 pitch outside, and the count runs full. Mulder and Carpenter threw bullpens today, along with Josh Kenny. And Pinheiro, as we heard from John Mozeliak, he will be in extended spring. And I'm not sure when we're going to see Matt Clement.
He will be, we would assume right now, he'll be the 3rd of the 4.
And a walk. The last thing you want to do if you're Springer is bring up the heart of this lineup, which is so dangerous.
I see Tony, and he just looks, he doesn't have the same stuff right now. His velocity is down. He's a veteran. He'll find a way to get people out, but they're going to get Izzy up, and he may be being a true bullpenner and going to pitch this into a safe situation again.
You love guys like that, huh?
Well, it's the camaraderie with, you take care of your teammates down there.
Well, if you're going to get Izzy up for the second time, you're probably going to bring him in. Agreed? Cool night like this. Now he's up, time number 2.
One more base runner, and it is a safe situation.
So here's Taveras with nobody out, runners at first and second. This will be tough to turn 2 with his speed at the plate. Cardinals leading 8-3 here in the 9th. Late with that swing.
Trailing by 5, and Troy Glass still has to respect his bunting ability.
The 0-1.
And obviously it would be bunting for a base hit. Now 2 strikes. Glass will move back.
Second straight year for Russ Springer. 16th big league season. Oh, 2 pitch. As you mentioned, Al, it's not a sold-out crowd tonight, but some of these folks have stuck around on a cool night here in St. Louis.
Well, I think a lot of them just thought with the 4-run 8th inning, the Cardinals with the 8-3 lead, just took it for granted, but you could never do that in this game.
1-2 is hit down the right field line, slices out of play and foul. .8-1 last year. ERA just over 2 for Russ Springer. And here at home, he was terrific. The 1-2 pitch. Popped up. Molina has a play along with Pujols. It'll be Yachty. Key out. Brings in Tulowitzki.
8th and 9th batters, and by allowing the first 2 to get on, or in a double play, you know, you get Tulowitzki and then Helton, Holiday behind that, so you get a chance for these guys, the Thunder, to come up.
And a swing and a miss. Tulowitzki tonight is fly to left. He's grounded out to third. Walked in, was caught stealing in the 5th, and then struck out in the 7th. Runners at first and second. Fouled straight back, 0-2.
Russ has that good slider. He's probably his fastball velocity is down maybe 3 or 4 miles an hour tonight, but he still has that wherewithal, that knowledge, that confidence that he can pitch with less stuff and get hitters out.
Russ would love the double play. On deck, it's Todd Helton. Early in this season, you have to wonder about Springer's availability in the day game tomorrow now, back-to-back nights.
I don't think you can do it with a guy 39 and with all the reconstruction that he's had.
And same probably can be said for McClellan.
McClellan should be out for tomorrow.
1-2.
You know, so you all of a sudden, you know, you get into a situation where, you know, Pallone can come back, Flores will be able to come back, Reyes hasn't made his appearance yet. You know, would you, if you use, here's another thing, you use Izzy tonight, would you be tempted to bring him 3 games back in a row?
This early in the season, probably not.
Well, that's, I mean, we do have Aaron Miles
is always a possibility,
and we lost Spezio, so
this is Marty Mason with Jason Isringhausen out there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2-2.
Is he trying to save and not make as many, throws, but yet he's in that situation where a base runner and it's a save situation. So
two pitch in the air to shallow center. Late break by Ankiel. He'll make the catch with ease for out number 2. Let's take a look now and turn to our Budweiser Great Player of the Game. Budweiser, the great American lager. And we turn to tonight's center fielder for St. Louis. It's Rick Ankiel. A little bit of everything tonight. That was a diving catch back in the 3rd inning. And at the plate, added a home run to go along with 3 hits. Budweiser Player of the Game. Here's Todd Helton.
talked about Todd being a doubles machine. Just a good all-around hitter.
Todd Helton tonight. Walk and a double. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals exploded for 4 runs in the 8th to bust this game open. Rockies down to their final strike. Be tough to pitch this guy, Todd Helton. He can spray it all over the place.
He's got power to hit it out, and I mentioned the doubles. Hit a double last night, one again here tonight. From 2000 to 2007, he's recorded 377 doubles. That's first in the National League in doubles during that span. But he's got 93 more doubles than Bobby Abreu during that same period. He's number 2. 93 more than the second place person in the doubles list. There's a fan. Bundled up, she's ready, and she's ready to explode with a cheer.
First and second, 1-2 pitch. Todd Helton this past offseason was inducted into Tennessee's Baseball Hall of Fame.
What took so long?
Yeah, I agree. He was a pitcher actually in college, along with being an outstanding hitter. Two-two pitch.
Izzy's going to have to throw a few just in case. Remember, Todd has a good batting eye too, so it's hard to get him to swing at a pitch that's not a strike.
The 3-2. Hit foul and out of play. Long night for Tony La Russa and the Cardinals. Right on cue.
Score 8 runs tonight and still don't have a victory. But we might after this pitch.
Runners go again on the 3-2. Helton pops it up, but that'll find the seats.
.30 pitches for Springer now.
And we'll do it again.
Shaking out his wrist. Yeah.
Cold night got in on his hands.
Nine pitch at bat. And we're going to see number 10. Will that be it?
Swing and a miss. Helton strikes out, and the Cardinals have their first win of 2008. 8-3. The Cardinals win it. Coming up, it's Cardinals Live presented by U.S. Cellular. Stay with us. Pat Paris is coming up to continue our coverage.